Hey, how you doing? This is SEIJIHITO here to bring you another live stream. And as you can clearly see on this, what is it, Saturday? I can't get my dates right. Saturday, January 24th of 2026. We're dealing with the topic of Black Americans and immigration. And we're going to hear this person supposedly. The guy you see in front of you is from Texas. So you can take that as you may. Also, note that you have a high African population directly down there. So we don't specifically know who this guy is, who he aligns directly with, but he wants to make sure to tell Black Americans about themselves and how it is that we should be out there protesting and directly on the front lines and how we should do this and how we should do that. And again, I find it very, very interesting. So, of course, as I normally do throughout the videos that I show, we will have some stops here and there to insert some information when needed. Shout out to Patricia Griff. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Shout out to Gail and shout out to D Love. So let's get into it.
I'm really tired of you FBAs and pretendians lying to
Pretendians.
people, lying to black people, talking about, oh, well, they ain't never did for us. They ain't never fought with us. They ain't never protested with us. They ain't never cared about us. You're a fucking liar, okay? First of all, if you're going to bring up the civil rights movement, do your research first. There was Latinos and Native Americans that was involved in the damn civil rights movement. Go look up Mendez v. Westminster. Go look.
Gotcha, no problem. So he said Mendez versus Westminster, right? So I want everybody to see this directly in front of you, correct? And I made sure to highlight the very important part so you can get through a lot of the boring stuff. So let me just read it off to you. It said Mendez versus Westminster, right? 1947 was a landmark federal court case that successfully challenged the segregation of Mexican American students in California. It established the forced segregation violation, the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. Key details. Plaintiffs. The case was led by Gonzalez Mendez and his wife. Uh, I'm not. I'm probably going to mispronounce that. Felicitas, whatever. Who filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of 5,000 children. Four other families joined as plaintiffs. The family of Thomas Estrada, William Guzman, and Frank Palomino, and Lorenzo Ramirez. The conflict in 1944, the Mendez children were denied enrollment at a white only school in Westminster, California, and told to attend a separate, quote, Mexican school with inferior facilities. Paradoxically, Mendez's niece, the Viduri children, were allowed to enroll because they had a different surname and lighter skin. The legal argument. Attorney David Marcus argued that segregation was not based on race, as Mexicans were legally classified as white at the time. So let me just get this straight, because I could have sworn we went over this before with the whole thing of like Mexicans and everybody and how it is that they are classified as other groups. Correct. I could have sworn we touched on that before. And we also touched on these things here, right? Where you had these folks that said Latin Americans of Mexican descent belong to the Caucasian race. And are therefore white. We got another one right down there that says, let the Negro fight his own battles. His problems are not mine. I don't want to ally with him. Color me surprised. So then we move directly over. We got more greatness directly over here. Another one said that we are not and have never been a civil rights organization. Personally, I hate the word. So they consider themselves white and they don't like civil rights organizations. Very interesting. Another person right below, who looks quite white passing, I might add, said, I know the Negroes aren't getting their full share of democracy, but frankly, I'm prejudiced against Negroes. And I do not believe that they are entitled to everything that we get. Gus Garcia, Mexican American civil rights attorney. Now, isn't it amazing how people want to pull up to the scene and they always want to tell, black people, oh, do your research, do your research, do your research, and all this other type of stuff, and look this up, and they want to state things directly out of anger, but they're making sure to really get directly right on black Americans. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I want to bring you guys up to these next, few pictures directly up there. It's nothing much, but it is showcasing the facts. If you can happen to look close, I know it's a little bit blurry, my apologies. But you have several articles here, right? One titled Afro Latinos say that Miami blackface play is part of bigger problem with racism in Latino communities. Another one says that members of gangs admit attacking black residents in Los Angeles. Another one states that police officer who took the life of Philando Castile acquitted of all charges, Latino. Another one says this workshop seeks to critically address anti-blackness in the Latin community. Another one with Trump says that Trump meets with victims of crimes by, what is it, undocumented immigrants. Another one says unpacking anti-blackness, Afro Latinx shares their experience, right? Another one directly under that, if I can happen to see it, it's a little bit, it's quite blurry. It says that in California's largest race bias, something Latino, something, right? But anyways, basically what it's saying is that all of that has to do with the colorism and the racism and the discrimination that happens in the Latin communities by way of their own people, right? So Latins, Mexicans, whatever you want to say, they're discriminatory and racist against their darker complected population. And that exact same prejudice, discrimination, those exact same sentiments and feelings, they also look at Black Americans the exact same way, right? So then we have another image directly up here, right? And it says thousands of Mexican Americans fought for the Confederate Army in the Civil War. Underneath that, it says Afro Latinos say that Miami, yeah, and then that was just a replay of what I had earlier, right? So again, we are looking some stuff directly up. Again, no, people can just take what I'm looking at as a grain of salt, right? You don't have to take it. It could be Chat GPT, it could be AI, it could be Minority Report. I don't know, right? But do your due diligence and find your own information so that you can come to a well rounded answer, right, that specifically fits directly for you. The only thing that I can do is just bring a little bit of stuff up, and hopefully that sparks a little bit of intrigue and people will go out there and seek the information for themselves, right? So let's continue.
Mendez v. Westminster that fought for educational equality. Go look up the Young Lords, the Puerto Rican group that often worked with black civil rights leaders for better health care. Go look it up. Stop fucking lying to people just because you don't want to like Latinos anyway. You don't want to like Native Americans anyway. You looking for every excuse to stay in the house and be a. So you gonna lie and fabricate beefs anyway. There is no real issue between black people and Latinos. There is no issue between black people and Native Americans. What happens is we have both. I've had bad experiences with Latinos before. Latinos have had bad experiences with us before. But what we cannot do is sit up here and cast a general blanket on each other while this damn European reject sits up here and benefits off of all of division. It doesn't even make sense. Let's speak some truth here. The truth is there was house ninjas during the civil rights movement that stayed in the house. There was house ninjas during slavery that stayed in the house. And there are house ninjas now that are choosing to stay in the house and sitting up here talking about, well, we gonna look out for us. Y'all, you and your ancestors that also stayed in the house ain't never looked out for black people. You just benefited off of the work that real black people do.
Oh, let me give a shout out to the old man real quick. Brandy B. World said, shout out for the $20 donor. This man said, hey man, don't think I'm just gonna let that knee That knee brace joke slide from yesterday. LOL. Here comes a new challenger. Much love, respect, and appreciation. We still looking into those knee braces, in that cane. We got you, man. You gonna have that nice pimp cane, gonna have the lean and everything. I got you. I got you. Much love, respect, and appreciation.
I want to give a special apology to the Latino community, to Native American community, because you may be under the false impression that all black people are thinking like these cowards. That is not the case. They are a loud few where we are the quiet many. Understand that. But what I am trying to tell black people is stop allowing the loud few to control the narrative for the quiet many. We outnumber them. You know what the right thing to do is. We've been on the front line since the beginning of time in this goddamn country. We the ones, black people are the ones why America even exists in the first place. It was chattel slavery. It was the selling of us is why this country exists in the first place. It was human trafficking of us is why this country exists in the first place, alongside Native Americans. So I'm not going to sit up here and perpetuate and fabricate and push forward and maintain a damn issue that don't even exist between Native Americans, black people, and Latinos when it's a whole white supremacists, it's a whole racist, it's a whole European reject that's contributing, that's controlling everything like a goddamn puppeteer that's sitting up here profiting off of all of your trauma. Your punk ass ain't got nothing to say about white supremacy, but
Now let me just be very clear. I find it very interesting that every single time folks like this want to pull up to the scene and make these videos going all hard on black people, they always bring up the exact same talking point. They were like, "Oh, y'all in the black community don't never got nothing to say about white people, and y'all never da, da, da." Who do y'all be listening to? Because he just said that we shouldn't be generalizing and making blanketed statements, but yet he's doing it when it deals with the black community. He wants black people to go out there and to protest and move around and show a force and rah 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 and all this other type of stuff. And then at the same time, he's trying to call himself calling black Americans out, and then him being some type of representative. You know what? I'm just going to sit there and give an apology to the Latins and to the Native Americans. On behalf of Black America. Don't nobody know who you are. Don't nobody know who you are at all. This is not your local news. This is just TikTok. this is just social media. Don't nobody care about you. That's normally how that works. It'd have been different if he would have had something where had hundreds of thousands or millions and the millions and the millions of his fans that were subscribed to his platform, but he doesn't. He doesn't. And the other thing that I have a problem with as well is that when you have people like this that always want to talk, it seems as though that the actions that they want everybody else to do, they're not willing to do themselves. So if you want black Americans to be out there protesting and rah 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 and doing all this other type of stuff because there's some type of kumbaya, my lord, that all type of stuff going on, why don't you, in that same work vest that you got on, why don't you go join some protests? Why don't you drop everything, drop all of your bills, drop your job, and go out there and be protesting and make this exact same video? When you do that, then I'll sit up like, you know what? Maybe he has a point. I'm still not going to sit up there and do it, but at least he's standing directly on his beliefs. You being directly at work, arriving to work, getting at work, being on break, and you decide to sit up there and make this video, it is completely stupid because you're not going to drop whatever it is that you got going on in life in order to go protest. We know this. This is why you're at work. This is why you got the work vest on. This is why you're not amongst the protests. This is why you're not having a back and forth on video with ICE and all these other folks directly out here. This is why you don't have a poster board or anything like that saying free the undocumented immigrants, leave the immigrants on. That's why you're not out there doing it. But you want to, make this type of video to show what? Because it's not really showing anything at all. Like the same way that you're trying to call everybody else cowards, you're the exact same coward. You're the exact same coward. You're just a loudmouth coward, so to say. Like, that's crazy. Like that, it makes no type of sense. And people listen to people like this. That's wild. that is wild. That is wild.
you got everything to say about an African, a Haitian, a Somalian. You got everything to say about a Puerto Rican, you got everything to say about a Puerto Rican. You got everything to say about a Mexican. You got everything to say about everybody melanated, but you ain't got nothing to say about the damn racists. You ain't got nothing to say about the mother that are still currently brutalizing us. The mother still dropping us on top of our heads. You ain't got nothing to say about them, but you got everything to say about everybody melanated. Anybody that is dividing melanated people, no matter the shade, no matter where you come from, anybody dividing melanated people, any brown person, anybody contributing to the divide of any brown people is a direct enemy of brown people. Is a
Really?
direct enemy of black people, is a direct enemy of Latino people, is a direct enemy of
Hold my beer on that. He said that's a direct enemy. Okay, so let's rewind this real quick to when the election was being won, or you know, pretty much when everything was said and done. Right. Let's rewind this and look at the true champions.
Latinos in the U.S. Let's do things the right way and let's keep growing. Let's keep growing as a family and let's make America great again.
Necesitamos a Trump. Let's make America great again.
A lot of Latinos, we stand strong next to President Trump. Let's make America great again. Let's go.
I'm just happy we in good hands. I know this 4 years is going to be one hell of a run. I know he's going to do a lot of great things for the whole Spanish community. Especially, we're going to make America great again.
I'm glad I gave that vote to Mr. Trump, and me and Anuel AA are here supporting. Que viva Puerto Rico, and let's make America great again.
Congratulations, President Trump.
We need you. We need you back, right?
Do you know who they are? Do you know who the hell they are? Come up here, just fast, fellas, come on. Because I don't know if these people know who the hell you are. But it's good for the Puerto Rican vote. Nikki Jam, do you know Nikki? She's hot.
Huh. He clearly said that those out there causing division amongst this, that, and the third are clearly the enemy, but I don't see him talking about the Latins out there. I don't see him talking about the Dominicans and the Puerto Rican. I don't see him talking about all of these folks who openly were on stage with Trump and stating how they loved him, how they voted for him, we need him back, how he's going to make America great again. I don't see. Let me go right back up. I don't see this dude here making no videos. I don't see him having no type of smoke. It's weird. It's very interesting, like I said before, how all of these folks who want black people to go out there and protest and all this other type of stuff. It's weird how everybody has the exact same energy. And in unison, everybody wants to only target and specifically focus in on black people. You got white people out here telling black people we need to go out there and protest. You got some black Americans out here saying that we need to protest. You got Africans, you got Jamaicans, you got Caribbeans, you got Haitians, you got Dominicans, you got Asians. You got the whole world in your hands. You got the whole world literally telling black Americans, hey, you guys need to get out there and move. Huh? That's a little bit weird. Why would we need to move? Because everybody else is saying move. All of the people that's normally talking about black Americans right now normally don't even see eye to eye. But for some odd reason, the whole world is like, you know what? We gotta call on the dinosaurs and form the Megazord, and we got to come after black Americans. Word? What happened to the internal squabbles? What happened to the civil wars that you guys were sitting up there having over different lands and tribes? Like, you know, what happened to all of these great government things that were going on? Supernaturally, everybody has this energy for and only for black Americans, and nobody finds that to be weird, a little bit odd, a little bit suspicious. Interesting. Very interesting.
Because not only have a lot of you FBAs and pretendians betrayed yourself, you've betrayed your community by directly benefiting white supremacy. Understand, silence, staying in the house, all that makes you complicit. All of that makes you guilty by association. Because your rhetoric and ideology helps white supremacy divide melanated people. And that being a fact means you are not pro-black. You are not pro-black people. You're not pro-Latino. You're not pro-Native American. No.
Huh?
What you are is a modern-day version of a damn sellout. A modern-day...
Hold on, let me hold on. He said that if you're not about this protest and defending these people, you're not pro-black, you're not pro Latino, you're not pro Mexican and Native American. I can only be pro my people. I'm a little bit like this is where we start to have these problems when folks like this want to open their mouths and they want to tell black people that we need to be for everybody, but everybody is not for black people. I'm highly like I said, he does no type of research on these other groups and how they treat their darker complected populations. He does nothing. Like I said, South America and the whitewashing that they did, where they brought over millions of Europeans in order to whiten that continent. Are we forgetting about that? Did he not do any research on any of those things at all? Like I'm baffled. Like this is crazy. Like one person sitting up there telling everybody to do their research is the same person that didn't do research on anything. Like that's crazy. That is. Let's keep going. But now we're
damn house ninja. How can you even look yourself in the mirror if you ignoring everything that white supremacy is doing and you turning your eye and focusing on attacking everybody melanated, whether they be light brown or dark brown? You want to focus on everybody melanated, but then ignore everything that European reject do. You are a coward.
That's crazy. That's wild. So, as a coward, as he is calling me and other Black Americans, I stare right back at a coward and tell him to go out there and protest. Go out there and have fun with ICE. Play hopscotch, tic tac toe, play tiddlywinks, play some backgammon. Whatever you want to sit up there and do, go out there and do that. Go have at it. Let me know how it goes. Because, like I said before, if you're really about that life, go out there and be about that life. Don't try to drag everybody else in there because realistically you're afraid, because you're scared. Go out there and stand 10 toes down. If you can have all of this bass in your voice, you can sit up there and yell directly into your phone while you're pacing, somewhere, in whatever parking lot of the area that you work in. If you can have all the energy and do that, you can have the same energy and get a plane ticket and go to Minneapolis or wherever these, ICE protests are happening, and you can get yourself involved. But you ain't going to do it. You ain't going to do it. You ain't about that life. You never was about that life. You're only about trying to antagonize and to get other people directly into a situation that you're not even prepared yourself to deal with, because you know what comes with that. Or matter of fact, you might not even be Black American. How about that one? How about that one? You might not actually even be Black American. Interesting. Diabolical. Let's continue.
On their way home from basketball practice, and they said that ICE threw tear gas at their car, and it almost killed their 6-month-old baby. And then everybody said, "See, told y'all black people was next. They targeting black people." Remember that? Look who was found at the protest an hour before their car was hit with tear gas. There go to mom. Just chilling. Didn't seem like they was just coming home from basketball practice and they happened to get caught on the street with ICE. Seemed to me like they part of the crowd. In the video, it was hard to spot the dad, but you can see in this picture right here that dad was in the same crowd. Now, what's crazy is that the point that I made was for the original story they told, which is now proven to be a lie, which was that, why are you stopping at a peaceful crowd with babies in the back seat when you know the block is hot? Because they said they stopped at the crowd and they saw the mother-in-law there, and next thing you know, ICE was in front of them and behind them, boxed them in, tear gas went off, baby couldn't breathe. Even with that story, I was like, why are you stopping at a crowd with a baby in the backseat? But now you telling me y'all was at this protest for a full hour with the kids in the car. That is far much worse than I thought. And I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I didn't even say they were lying. I just said, why would you stop at a crowd with children in the back? This video shows them chilling in that same crowd for an hour before the incident went down. Where were the kids then? Like, curious to know on what the other side thinks. The ones that were like, told y'all black people was next. They were targeted. I'm curious to know what y'all think about this. Don't forget, they allegedly came up with $200,000 with a GoFundMe. Allegedly. I'm curious to know what y'all think about this now. Even the father's responses to the news interview questions was off because they was like, "Where are your kids at now?" And he was like, "Yeah, they headed to the hospital right now. They can't breathe." That's it. Your kids almost died, and you sitting there talking about, "Yeah, I guess they headed there." Everybody in the comments like, "Please stop. He's in shock." Okay.
So we heard that, right? So this is another reason why I told a lot of black folks that just pay attention to what's going on. They're going to throw a lot of stuff directly at you to try to get you involved, to try to emotionally get you attached to something that has nothing to do with you at all. And you come to find out the propaganda that was directly there, where you had the quote unquote black family. We was in we was just minding our business, just driving. And then this protest, it just dropped out of the sky because God was trying to let us know a message. And then all of a sudden, as the protest just dropped out of the sky, ICE just came straight out like a bat out of hell and just like surrounded us and mistaken us for protesters and just started throwing canisters, concussions, grenades, bow, 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 bow. And then one of them, just went into our car. And, my kids, they can't even breathe right now. So if that was the case, why was your wife at the protest? Why does that almost sound a little bit similar to the Renee Good situation where, you got the husband basically driving and then the wife is out there at the protest and then magically stuff happens. But instead of it ending up the way that it ended with the Renee Good situation, it was just like some magical tear gas or something like that, supposedly, and now the kids can't breathe, which seems like they're trying to make a callback to like George Floyd. Like I said, it's a lot of stuff going on here. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just reading a little bit too much into it. Maybe it actually did happen the way that they said, it happened. Maybe ICE is targeting, black Americans. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too much of a conspiracy theorist, when it deals with these things, going a little bit cuckoo. I'm just reading too much into it. Reading way too much into it. So what I'm going to matter of fact, let me know what y'all think realistically. Because for me, I'm just saying, like, I find it very interesting how, they're trying to throw all of these things in, at once in order to facilitate some type of movements or a emotional response. Like I said, it's weird to me. And this is why I told y'all for years, like, y'all got to pay attention when y'all look at these things. You got to do it with the least amount of emotion as possible, because historically speaking, this is how they've always gotten black people, black Americans, to move, which is putting things out there to get an emotional response, to get us attached in order to get us mobilized, right? It don't matter if it's somebody such as, let's say, like a Roland Martin, or Officer Tatum, or any of these individuals directly out there. They use a type of psychology in order to speak directly to black Americans in order to get a certain response, in order to then have them perform a certain type of movement. Again, it's the exact same thing time and time again. Exact same thing time and time again. And all of these people, the reason why they do it is because they think that black American are 100% fools. That we're just going to go for the exact same thing every single time. And then when we don't fall directly for it, this is when they want to pull up to the scene and start trying to call people stupid and trying to say that we don't know nothing and we need more education. Nah, we figured you out. You just mad that people sat up there and caught on. Like I said, all of this stuff out here is crazy. It is 100% crazy. And I'm happy at the fact that you have a lot of black Americans that have opted to just sit still and pay attention and to just see where everything is going to go before just senselessly, throwing their lives on the line on a situation again that has nothing to do with them at all. Has nothing. Has zero at all. Like I said, it's wild to me. And again, you got a lot of these folks out here being immensely disrespectful, as we've been covering for several months now. I've brought multiple videos directly to you guys where people wanted to go, many demographics, many ethnicities wanted to go online and be as disrespectful as possible. Like I said before, let's even just take it back to the voting thing. Like I said, I don't got no dog in this race, but for the sake of conversation, you've had Black Americans, both Black men and women, they voted Democrat in order to get Kamala Harris, Kamala Khan, as I call her, into office. Everybody else voted against Black Americans. And you can see by the numbers who specifically voted for the other side. Again, it had nothing to do with Black Americans. But the moment in time that people didn't like the result, as soon as day one came in, everybody was scraping and scrambling and scraping and trying to figure out a way to put blame on somebody. And this is when mainstream media decided that they wanted to pull up to the scene and be like, all right, we're going to do what we normally do. And we're going to demonize Black men because that's what sells and that's what works. And everybody's just going to, carry it on from there. Crazy work. Diabolical work. It was so crazy to the point where you even had the Republicans coming out and doing a complete opposite and talking about how you had other groups. It wasn't the Black men that they were talking about. And again, these are the conservatives. These are the Republicans. They were the ones who were like, no, it was the Latins. You had white people, you had Latins, you had all these other groups that heavily voted in order to get Trump directly into office. But then on the other side, you have the Democrats sitting up there stating that no, it was Black men. They don't want to see a strong Black woman directly in office again. So when we sit up there and talk about that there is a divide, within the Black community, you have to also understand that politics plays a heavy role directly in that divide. Because even though they say that, oh no, we don't want people to be so divided, they, what's the terminology word they flourish when there is division, quote unquote, directly in the camps, because there's tons of money to be made. And then on top of that, again, going with the whole situation scenario of trying to pit men versus women, it's a high selling point. You want to sit up there and let women think that, oh yeah, the men out here, they're weak. You're far more smarter. You know everything that needs to be known. The men are dumb. They don't know anything about anything. And you guys are pretty much the savior and rah 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 and all this other type of good stuff. And then lo and behold, when time comes, aka like the Biden administration, we saw what happened. All these laws and all these things were passed. You had things for the Jewish community, the Asian community. I think maybe even some things probably for Native Americans. You had things for the Jewish community. Yeah, I said them twice. Who else? Hispanic community as well too, and maybe some other immigrants. All under the Biden administration, right? And Biden himself said that he specifically thanked Black American women for getting him directly into office. So if we're supposed to, in a sense, because I'm trying to get people to see where I'm going with this, right? If we're supposed to go by a blame game on how it is that things specifically happen, you see how people can look back and be like, all right, well, who helped to get Biden into office that then allowed the Democrats to pass all of these laws and rules for everybody else, but then none for their own community? People are like, well, Biden said that, he thanked Black women for heavily getting him into office. He didn't say nothing about Black men. He said zero about Black men. And when you happen to do that, again, that's going to cause a whole nother issue there. With who? Men and women. But specifically who? The Black community. So like I said before, people got to pay attention. All over the board, there is all types of division that is placed out there, and you only have a certain group out there that's specifically making money directly from it, and that just so happens to be the ones that are part of the government, right? So now, speaking directly on that, we're going to head to this video that I was trying to make sure that I had edited for you guys. So we got that, and now going to post this one right here.
Americans saying ICE isn't our problem. You do realize that they're kidnapping Black Americans too, right? And they're just saying, oh, we thought they were African. We thought they were illegal immigrants.
Right. So let me just repeat that. Let me just and this is a Caucasian American, obviously what, liberal, Democrat, all of that good stuff, right? So let's take a listen to what he wanted to specifically address when it deals with Black Americans again.
For all the Black Americans saying ICE isn't our problem, you do realize that they're kidnapping Black Americans too, right? And they're just saying, oh, we thought they were African. We thought they were illegal immigrants.
Right. So let me get this straight. You as a Caucasian fellow decided that it was in your best interest to try to address Black Americans and tell Black Americans that, hey, you guys need to get out there and really start protesting. Y'all really need to, sit up there and start moving and doing this and doing that. I'm like, that's a little bit crazy. I'm like, are you not white? Should you, as a Caucasian ally, you should be the one putting your body, your life, your freedoms, and all that directly on the line in order to save these other individuals directly out there that's going through with these protests and all this other type of stuff going on. But no. You don't want to do that. You want to stay directly in your cushy, nice home that probably two or 3,000 for rent per month or whatnot or whatever. And you specifically want to tell Black Americans that nah, y'all need to be the ones to go out there. Realistically, what's happening with the whole ICE situation, it's going to affect you as well. Do y'all not understand that everybody else tried to play this exact same game? You as a white man of all people should already know, historically speaking, that whatever's been going on with ICE, historically, black Americans have dealt with that. Y'all had the white hooded ones coming directly up through our neighborhoods for the longest time possible since the inception of this country to snatch away our kids, our wives, our family, break apart homes. Right. And again, I'm not even talking about slavery. But again, these are things that Black Americans have had to sit up there and face. Y'all used to use our children as alligator bait. Y'all sat up there and buried our towns and cities, under, dirt hills, under asphalts, under other types of structures that you guys decided to erect. You got rid of a lot of our memorials. You got rid of a lot of our gravestones, of which still today, people who are trying to build somewhere, they're digging up these unmarked graves. Like, oh my God, we found, hundreds of bodies here. They're just unmarked graves. I wonder why they're unmarked. I wonder why there are no stones there. Because only one group specifically has done this continuously, historically, in these United States. But you thought that it was a good idea for you to try to enlist Black Americans into this mini squabble instead of you. And again, it was your other half of your demographic. I'm guessing again, he's liberal, he's Democrat, whatever. It was your other half that decided that they wanted all of this to happen. But yet you don't even want to be to blame for it. You want to address Black Americans instead of addressing white Americans in those who are considered to be white. That's a little bit weird to me. That's matter of fact, let me just make sure I'm not making anything up, because I want to go back to the main people who can be at least accredited for, because I like to give credit where credit is due. So let me just replay the previous video to the ones who allowed ICE and who also put Trump directly into office. Let me go back to this video real quick.
Latinos in the U.S., let's do things the right way, and let's keep growing. Let's keep growing as a family, and let's make America great again.
Necesitamos a Trump. Let's make America great again.
A lot of Latinos, we stand strong next to President Trump. Let's make America great again. Let's go.
I'm just happy we in good hands. I know this 4 years is going to be one hell of a run. I know he's going to do a lot of great things for the whole Spanish community. Especially, we're going to make America great again.
I'm glad I give that vote to Mr. Trump, and me and Anuel AA are here supporting. Que viva Puerto Rico, and let's make America great again.
Congratulations, President Trump.
We need you. We need you back, right?
Do you know who they are? Do you know who the hell they are? Come up here, just fast, fellas, come on. Because I don't know if these people know who the hell you are. But it's good for the Puerto Rican vote. Nikki Jam, do you know Nikki? She's hot.
So we heard that, right? Right? And then because this person wants to be an ally, correct? As a lot of these folks uh would like to say. Let me see if I can specifically get the information. I think isn't this it? Yeah. Let me just put this back up because we went over this yesterday, right? So this is the information dealing with ICE, right? It says while specific recent figures vary, Hispanic individuals have historically made up a significant portion of immigration and customs enforcement or ICE personnel, with older data suggesting around 24 to 30% of ICE agents were Latino. Sorry about that. Um, so it says 24 to 30% of ICE agents were Latino, and that was circa 2016 through 2019 information. And though the latest DHS statistics show Hispanics at 22.8% of the entire Homeland Security Department, including ICE, with white non-Hispanics being the largest group at 51.7% as of August of 2025, right? So then we scroll directly down and we look directly at the last two. Number one, it says earlier ICE agents as of 2019 reports from 2019 cite around 24% of ICE agents as Latino, right? With some data suggesting around from 2008 showing them at 30%. Last but not least, Border Patrol. Latinos make up even larger percentage of Border Patrol agents, exceeding 50% in some past counts. So could we not then theorize that the people that are going after and locking up other Latins, Hispanic, Spanish speaking people are part of the same demographic? Again, what does this have to do with Black Americans? I'm just trying to I'm just trying to figure this out because you have a lot of talking heads directly out here, but they only want to give certain types of information. They don't want to give full rounded type of things and all that thing, all that type of stuff. They don't want people to have a full rounded look at the story. They want to carry people by emotions, not facts, not logic, just emotions. And they play on the ignorance of a lot of folks directly out there because they know that people will just, let me just sit up there and go to TikTok, get some information real quick, and that's it. People 9 times out of 10, a lot of folks are just, they're not going to go out there and try to, pick up, whatever book that's associated with the information or try to look it up for themselves. They're just going to, do it that way. And this is why I've told people before, it's like, hey, I'm not the end all to be all when it deals with information. You might be able to find some more information, that'll go beyond anything that I've even listed in any of the live streams and or videos, which is great, which is excellent, right? That's what I would want to happen, right? But a lot of these other folks out there, they're not about that life. They're about trying to 100% mislead a lot of folks out here. And on top of the fact that when I've looked at ICE agents directly in a lot of these videos, I've noticed that I've seen some that might have been Haitian, African, Latin, Mexican, others from other places, including Asians. I'm like, whoa, Asians? I'm like, how did you, why out of all people? I'm like, why would you? And I'm like, that's right. You're a part of ICE because you believe that you're a model minority. I forgot. You think that you are the closest thing to white. I understand it. I understand. It'd be like that though. But again, I need a lot of white folks like this. I need y'all to just step back. If you really about that life, just like that first Black guy that I showed off, y'all should be the first ones up there. Y'all needs to be the first ones up there when they deal with this whole situation and sacrificing your freedoms, putting your lives directly on the line, bringing your families directly about y'all should be the ones to go out there and do it. Because at the end of the day, what this dude ain't going to sit up there and tell you is that he has not seen any Somalians, no Ethiopians, no Africans, none of these folks. He ain't seen none of them sit up there and say, thank you to Renee Good. Send any type of blessings. Trying to have the ancestral plane, speak to Renee Good and send well wishes and flowers. Nah, they ain't trying to do that. They don't care. They don't care. They're not even appreciative of the sacrifice the innocents happen. If you can, take it to that length. Like I said, I ain't seen no Somali out of all the stuff that I've seen these Africans talking about on TikTok. I have not seen them pull up to the scene in droves like they be talking about Black Americans and having all that negative energy. I have yet to see them with thousands upon thousands of videos talking about thank you, Renee Good. Shout out, big ups to Renee Good. Shout out to Renee Good. I ain't never seen it. Now again, maybe I could be ignorant of it. Maybe it might be on some other, different version of TikTok, maybe TikTok Lite Plus Alpha. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe it might be out there, but I myself have not seen it. I've seen all the other content out there. I've not seen that. But yet the same one won't have that energy when it deals with a lot of those immigrants who don't care about the situation with Renee Good. He's not going to come out and have that energy at all. Just like the rest of them, they're not going to do it. But what they will do is hurry up and jump online and start talking about Black Americans so they can figure out and find a way to monetize it and make money. Because again, whenever you can put and brand Black Americans as something negative, it always sells. It always makes money. You have all of these people deciding that they want to just dog pile on. They want to bandwagon directly on this situation. Yep. Yes, indeed. Well, let's continue.
Don't get mad at me. I'm just asking questions. When did illegal aliens become the top priority of the United States of America? That's my question. My first question. My second question is, when the Black people start caring whether or not illegal aliens got deported back to their own country? Because I've been around for a while now. I ain't never heard that shit even one day in my entire life up until very, very, very recently. Right? All of a sudden, we got the fake Black Panthers out here talking about they're going to protect illegals from ICE. My question is, you talking about, ICE is out here wearing masks and terrorizing the people. Where the was y'all at when was out here wearing masks and terrorizing the community?
Hold on. So somebody said, well, if rights are taken away in the political process, how are you not affected? Because Black Americans have always had rights taken, given, taken, given. It doesn't matter how it basically goes. We let me just highlight this real quick, right? So to this person here, for at least for Black Americans, we've always dealt with this. Again, I need people to look up history. What happened in the past will happen yet again. That's just what's going to happen. But it's not due to the fact that Black Americans ain't paying attention. It's because everybody else is not paying attention. Because the main thing that has always happened will always take place because everybody thinks that, oh, well, it's just happening to the Blacks. It doesn't matter. Well, it's a trial and a test run here. Once they get it perfected, once that engine is 100%, everybody else is really going to start to feel that burn. You're going to really see what it was. Because people didn't want to activate them. People didn't want to start moving. People want to start moving when magically it's affecting everybody else and it's hitting their front door. And like I said, I don't care. It's like, just like y'all sat up there and watched what happened to Black Americans, historically speaking, I'm going to sit here and watch what happens to y'all. And again, people can miss with all of the Bible jargon where it's like, oh, but what happens when, somebody, an eye for an eye, it leaves everybody blind. Then we're going to be walking around here like Stevie Wonder, Sandra Bullock in Bird Box. That's what it's going to be, a dark room. I'm going to be the Daredevil in here doing martial arts. Like, yo, I don't care. Yeah, and y'all got to understand that. Y'all got to get it directly through your brains that you got a lot of Black Americans out here that are tired and just don't care. There's nothing that you're going to be able to state or say in order to get them to move the same way historically that y'all been able to get Black Americans to move. Y'all can use all this propaganda out here like, oh, Black families are going through this and that, and all this other. Okay, it's the exact same thing historically. Sacrifices have to be made. Now what you got? You don't got nothing. Because the craziest part is, if you want to talk about rights being given away, let's go back to the Patriot Act. Let's go back to the War on Terror. Let's go back to when the Bush administration, the Republican Party, was running everything. What happened? Y'all don't want to mention that. Y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all don't want to talk about how people just freely signed over their rights out of fear. Like I said, the government didn't even force it to happen. It was like, yo, we're just going to let y'all know we got this Patriot Act. It's to look, and to try to find these terrorists because they're amongst us. They got these sleeper cells. It's the war on terror. They got these WMDs out here, WMDs. And y'all have still not, to this day in 2026, I have yet, out of all of the documents that have been released and unclassified, I have yet to see any documents from the United States government stating that during the war on terror, that we found any weapons of mass destruction. Where are those at? But yet y'all signed over y'all rights though, right? Y'all allowed all of these agencies to sit up there and read your emails, your text messages, listen to your phone calls, your voicemails, and to sell all of your data though, right? Because it was under the disguise of that they were looking for these sleeper cells. They were looking for these hardened terrorists, that they had these sleeper cells in the United States. They just had to find them, because they were just possibilities of war, WMDs out there, and they could use it against America and rah. Where those WMDs at? Where those WMDs at? I'm just wondering, for anybody that's sitting up here trying to tell me that, rights are getting taken away, how do you think that's not going to affect you? Again, rights have been taken away. What are we talking about? What are we talking? Like, it's crazy how people forget the past, but Petridge Farm remembers. We remember it all. But y'all magically got the TikTok brain where it's like, 5 to 10 seconds, and whatever happened, 15, 20, whatever years ago, it's like, that doesn't matter. We're talking about here and today. We're not talking about the past. Let's stay in 2026 about what's going on here. Nah, we're going to stay on everything, because everything is intertwined and everything is linked. And as I stated to a lot of folks out here before, the moment in times that y'all decided that y'all wanted to allow whatever happened to Black Americans to happen, the same exact thing was going to inevitably happen to y'all. And here we are. So now you got a lot of folks on here. They want to go online and start crying. They want to start babbling. They want to start weeping and giving these big tears and woe is me and tiny violin and doing all this other type of nonsense to try to get Black Americans mobilized and moving. And we're just sitting still looking at y'all like y'all stupid. The exact same way when we sat up there and told y'all, if you decide to vote the way that you wanted to vote, you're going to have to suffer the consequences. Stupid. So exactly how we called you stupid then, we're now just stepping back with our hands up, letting Jesus take the wheel, and look at you silently calling you stupid. Like I said, it's on you. It's on you. But again, you can't handle the weight of your own decisions. So that brings you right back to us, the same people that you didn't even want to sit up there and listen to. That's some crazy work. That is 100% wild. That is 100% wild. 100% wild. Like, Lord have mercy. But anyways, let's keep going.
And the murder rate was going sky high, right? And women was getting carjacked at the gas station left and right. We seen mothers chasing the goddamn car down because the baby's still in the back seat. When public transportation went to shit, right? And the people just trying to get to work and get to school feel less and less safe on public transportation because motherfuckers shooting guns and shooting dope right on the bus. Where the fuck was y'all at then? Don't come to me with this Black Panther, pro-black shit about no illegal aliens, and y'all wasn't around when the community was going through shit. The community's still going through shit, and y'all wasn't nowhere around. All of a sudden, illegal aliens are threatened to be deported as they should, and y'all outside.
Now, I just want to say I 1000% agree. Even though he don't need my co-signage, I 1000% agree with every single thing that this man is sitting up here stating. Because somebody has to make me understand, how is it possible, again, that because this is basically my face. Shout out to, Tropical Thunder, because this is basically my face at this moment in time, where when I sat up there and saw the Black Panther Party pulling up to the scene in order to represent all of these other people, in order to sit up there and fight for all of these other folks out there. But it's like, where were y'all at to fight for the Black community? Where was the Black Panther? Like I said before, where was the Black Panther Party to get rid of any type of drugs or any type of addicts in any abandoned houses or structures in the Black community? What was the Black Panthers to get rid of the drug dealers and to push them out of the Black community, get them up out of there? Where were the Black Panthers at to specifically help out Black folks when they were going through police brutality or any type of negative actions dealing with the police? Where were the Black Panthers to speak for the Black communities when they were having problems holding down their homes, or they were getting pushed directly out of their communities because the governments there were enabling other folks, such as immigrants, to come through and push Black people directly out? Where were the Black Panthers at to specifically speak on the behalf of Black Americans there when they were getting priced out of their homes, right? When rent and stuff was going up during like the pandemic, and it was just astronomical and people really couldn't sit up there and afford it. Where were they? Why is it that all of a sudden when this whole fiasco is going on, now they want to sit up there and pull up and pop up? Because, the craziest part is when I was covering videos dealing with the pandemic, I didn't see the Black Panthers popping up talking about like, oh, the mainstream media, the man is giving propaganda, the same type of technique and everything that was used against us historically, in these Americas, on these colonized lands by these Europeans in order to demonize the original man of Earth, in order to steal and take away his power. So this is why they put us directly into jail cells, aka cells, like a battery, because like a battery, when it's in a remote control, it can be controlled and used for its power, along with putting the Black man in cells, which are used in order to host the energy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy out here. It's diabolical how a lot of this stuff is just all of a sudden happening. We got the, quote unquote, the Black American family. They got tear gassed and flashbang like it was Call of Duty 2009. And then we got the Black Panthers stepping up here, Wakanda forever. And then we got all of these other folks directly out here trying to specifically get at Black Americans online and trying to get us to mobilize and go out there and protest because Renee Good lost her life due to the effect of a, Holy Trinity. You had the white guy, white. You had Renee Good, white. You had Renee Good's wife, white. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm like, I didn't know that the Black Panthers were there in order to step into try to stand up for white people in their situations. I didn't know that. Maybe I'm learning something new. Maybe I'm learning something new. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a dude playing the dude disguised as another dude. What do you mean, you people? People done use that word against us for 400 years. It was classic. I see some people in the comment section might not have a sense of humor about Tropical Thunder, but it'd be like that. It'd be like that. But anyways, let's continue.
Bullshit Black Panthers. This light skin running around, and he from Cali. He ain't from Philly. Yo, man, I'm gonna just say this, and I don't mean no harm, but we are the most easily manipulated people on the face of the goddamn planet. Don't fall for this shit, man. Don't go with no federal agents. Don't go worry about no illegals. Don't be trying to fight ICE because it ain't your problem, man. Raise your kids, get your money, build your credit, get your situation right. You in the land of opportunity. They want to be here. You was born here. You know what I'm saying? You have the opportunity. Don't let these people gas you up and tell you you a victim and you ain't got access. Get the out here and do something for yourself. Don't worry about no illegal aliens, man. That's their problem. And I hope they all get sent back to where they came from, because I'm worrying about me and mine. Black, white, purple, or green. I care about Americans. anybody else.
That's bars. That's bars. You know, care about America because he is American. That's bars. 100% factual. I don't disagree. Do not disagree at all. Do not disagree. Let's continue.
Community, we do not stand with you. Let me tell you something. If you came into this country illegally, you must go. If we went to Taiwan, if we went to Asia, if we went anywhere in the world, the first thing they're going to ask us for is our passport. The second thing they're going to ask us is how long do we plan to stay. The next thing they're going to ask us is for our email. The next thing they're going to ask us is for the address where we're going. And if we stay a day longer than what we're supposed to stay, they will drag us out. Drag us out. So you coming over here, breaking through the borders, looking for black people to come turn up and all this kind of stuff. We stand together. No, 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 no.
Let's ban all foreign flags. Like, you can't come here and be, parading around in the streets with your flag where you came from, where you don't want to go back. This is not cool. Like, in 2025, let's ban foreign flags in America.
Black people in LA, mind your business. Black people in LA, mind your business. This don't got nothing to do with us. ICE and the National Guard being in LA has nothing to do with us. I don't understand rallying behind a whole bunch of people that hard ER you. They don't even like you for real. Everybody want to make their problems our problems. It's tired. It's tired. This don't got nothing to do with us. Sit there, watch, look. Don't go out there.
Say, man, this America, man. I've been seeing a group of Hispanic people burning the American flag. And there's a lot of us Americans that's letting y'all slide with that shit. Not one time I've seen a group of Americans burn a Mexico flag.
Oh, that's a great point. That is a very, now just think about that for the black Americans here, right? Just take a minute. Now just imagine if you're a black American, you were in a highly Mexican populated area, let's say like some California, Texas, something like that, right? And let's say if you decided out of frustration that was going on, or maybe you had a negative interaction with somebody that's Mexican, you decided to get a Mexican flag and just burn it. Now just imagine what Mexicans would do and say. Just imagine it. Right? Now flip that around, and now you're looking at Mexicans openly burning the American flag, and look at the reaction. Silence. Nothing. But it would not be the reverse. It wouldn't be the reverse. Oh, interesting.
I haven't seen that one video on TikTok yet.
Bro, I am trying my hardest to understand why the ICE protesters, some of them, are going around and waving their country flag, but yet they won't go home.
Y'all got me heated. So y'all taking y'all flag.
Oh, that's a good point. Hold on. Wait. Let's pull that back. She said that you can see tons of videos of Mexicans waving their flag. And you know what the craziest part is? I remember that there was some type of like riots that was going on. It was somewhere in 2024 in California. And that was another, propaganda filled thing where they wanted to try to make it seem like it was black people tearing up a lot of these buildings and these restaurants and all of these places. And I made sure to cover a lot of those videos. Color me surprised when a lot of those folks that were there were Hispanic. and then color me surprised when in those videos you can sit up there and see somebody waving a Mexican flag and carrying it. Black Americans wouldn't be doing that. Why would we carry a Mexican flag and then decide to tear up some American property? That's crazy. That's highly confusing. It's but let people sit up there and tell it was like, oh yeah, you got the blacks out there, they're running through and they're doing this and they're doing that and tearing up the infrastructure, and it's like George Floyd and BLM all over again. Right? That's what people want to go through there and say, without adequately pointing out and looking at a lot of the faces, the millions and the millions of the faces that were directly there, tearing up a lot of those businesses, down there in California. Yep. Yep, always got to bring up the story up. Something's going wrong. Blame the blacks. Blame the blacks.
And doing this. Okay, that's your flag. Go back. Go ahead, take your flag and go ahead on back. Y'all got me so mad, feeling that y'all entitled, that y'all right. Y'all are wrong. Y'all done mace the ICE officers. Y'all, who do y'all think y'all are? Let's just say that Donald Trump decided to say he called ICE out. Okay, you want to go back through this within a month or two, because they coming back. Okay, and I don't think he's gonna call them off. Y'all not doing nothing but making it worse, harder for other people. I'm not understanding. Baby, go ahead. Like, I'm sorry. For you to be breaking into the ATM, what is that fixing? So you think he gonna say, ooh, we scared, we shaking in our shoes. Bag out. Just stop. No, he gonna send more buses. He gonna send more police down there.
But why are you holding up the Mexican flag? You're in America. You're in America holding up a Mexican flag. But you don't want to be in Mexico.
Well, y'all out there in LA acting a damn fool. Let them people do their job. And if you hurt one of them, your ass going to the feds or to the jail. I think got the National Guards out there now. Y'all ass in trouble. LA, this for you. Oh, say, can you see?
Yep. Because just imagine if I decided to go to somebody else's country as a Black American, and I was upset and I felt a certain type of way about the country and the rules and all these things, and I was in front of all of those countrymen, and I just decided to wave a big old American flag, people would start beating me down. There would be some fights. There would be a lot of things. I'd be jailed, as a matter of fact, because more than likely I'd probably be breaking some type of laws, and I would be causing a disturbance, which it is. But like I said, these are the types of things that people want to do in the United States, stuff that they can never do back home, or better yet, in somebody else's country. They can never sit up there and do it. I've yet to see any Mexicans decide to go to Japan and start just waving a giant Mexican flag. I've yet to see that. I've yet to see them do that in China. I've yet to see them go to Russia and decide to sit up there and do it. I've yet to see them do that anywhere else. They're always doing it here in these United States. Everybody wants to come here after they're comfortable and wave their nation's flag, even though they ran away from their nation for whatever reasons. So you don't like home. You got an issue with home, and you run to somewhere else and you get comfortable and you make it and make a family and all this other type of stuff. But now you don't like where you made home at now, and you want to show your disapproval by waving your old country's flag. That's wild. And this is why I keep telling people you can't serve two gods. The moment in time that you decide that you as a human being want to try to serve and profit off of two gods, one of those guys is going to get jealous, and it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. I guess a lot of people never read books about mythology and all this other type of stuff that gave people warnings about trying to double cross and trying to be too greedy. A lot of people are finding out the hard way. Yep. You were better off either going back home and serving that God there, or if you came to the United States, just serving the United States. That was it. That's all you got to sit up here and do. It's very simple. It's very simple. But, some people are too hard-headed to deal with simple. Let's keep going. Right, so let's just go back, because we all know who Donnie on stage is. Oh, so sorry, Donnie in timeout. So let's go back to this. So this Haitian said that when ICE come to your job to get all the Haitians, but you already got your citizenship. So to any Haitians out there, to any of the melanated immigrants directly out there, explain this to me. Why would she decide to make this video to basically clown all of her brethren, all of her sisters, her family members? She's literally online making fun of that. Oh, well, ICE came and get them, but they couldn't get me because I got my citizenship. Ha 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 ha. Look at me, look at me, look at you. Oh, but y'all got the nerve to roll up on a scene on these internet streets and talk about Black Americans? Wow. Like I said, it's funny how y'all overlook videos like this. It's funny how y'all overlook videos like this, and then y'all magically have this problem with Black Americans. Whew, that's crazy. But let's keep going.
As y'all could see, she stated that ICE pulled up to her workplace where they hire nothing but Haitians. They took all the undocumented Haitians. They didn't take her because she was documented. So with that being said, what makes you believe that ICE is just going to randomly detain Black Americans for looking like Haitians when in her scenario, they didn't detain all the Haitians that are Haitians. They only took the undocumented Haitians. Y'all got to stop with this fear mongering. And as ICE was removing the Haitians from her workplace, even her being Haitian, she didn't fight for those Haitians. She just let ICE complete their job, do their job. She didn't obstruct justice, and she's Haitian herself. Matter of fact, she's like, look, I got my citizenship. Y'all need to do the same thing. Like, she happy she in a safe space. Like, ICE try harder. You got them, but not me. So she clearly separate her status from their status, and they're all Haitians. Once again, y'all got to stop with this fear mongering.
Yep. Even, and like I said before, so everybody wants us to take this situation serious, but you got these folks out here. Let's go back to that first video. You got these folks out here, and she's Haitian. She's not even taking it serious because, she got hers, so she don't care. Wow, that's wild. But yeah, they're trying to get online and make Black Americans care. Nah, you better sit up there and start chasing down your countrymen. You better start bringing this to the attention of your countrymen and tell them to come out of hiding. You better tell the ones that got their citizenship and, back in 1974, whatever y'all want to sit up there and call it, you better call them directly to these front lines and have them step up for you and represent you and put their bodies directly on the line. Make those sacrifices. Like I said, Black Americans have already made too many sacrifices for this country and for a lot of ungrateful folks directly out here. We're taking a breather. We're getting refreshments, and we're taking a long way to get those refreshments. So we don't even know if we're going to come back to see this game at this moment. we might just decide after we get these refreshments, I got some stadium popcorn and some pizza. Matter of fact, let me just take this home real quick. We don't even care about the tickets no more. we just gonna sit up and take the stadium food home and sit up and catch some on Netflix, watch some YouTube or something. Like I said, because all of this is complete madness. Because again, the amount of disrespect, I keep trying to tell people, is like, there's only so much disrespect that people are going to be able to take before everything breaks. Because people are so used to Black Americans just holding up their arms and having these giant plates and trying to catch all of these rain droplets to try to collect all of these problems. That's realistically not even ours, because we're supposed to be the sacrificial lamb. We're supposed to be the ones to, put our bodies up to the altar in order to defend and body block and all this for everybody else. When realistically, they could do it for themselves, but they don't want to, because they don't want to handle the responsibility. They don't want to deal with what comes specifically with that, the sacrifice. And now Black Americans are like, yeah, we ain't doing this no more, so we're gonna put these plates on the ground, we're gonna just drop them and all of these problems, and any one of these other groups, y'all can pick those up collectively and try to figure it out. Just do the work that we've been doing, right? We're not doing it. We're not no more doing this whole situation of Atlas trying to hold the world on the shoulders. Somebody else got this. Y'all can hold this planet. Y'all got it. Y'all all sit up there and say that y'all are smarter. Y'all say that y'all are more intelligent. Y'all say that y'all got more money. Y'all say that we don't know how to deal with the opportunities. Y'all want to sit up there and say that we lazy. All right, fine, so be it. So since y'all are stronger and better than us, y'all can handle the situation. Y'all can sit up there and hold this for like the next 100 years. Go do it. Have at it. Which one of y'all want to sit up there and come up for the task? Magically, nobody want to do it. But y'all want us to sit up there and keep doing the same thing that we've been doing. Y'all want us to sit up there and keep sacrificing, giving over our kids, our elders, wives, husbands, families, lives, freedoms, futures. Y'all want us to give over everything so that you can survive, live, have comfortability, be accepted. Nah. And now y'all mad. Be mad at yourself. Be mad at yourself. So now we're going to go to the great one. We're going to see what this woman here has to state to Black Americans, right? Because she has a question for the Black community, right? She got her hair, laid out, eyebrows done. She got the makeup and like the filter directly on, sitting directly in the bed, got the camera position so that she can specifically ask Black Americans a question. Let's listen.
So respectfully for the Black community, I have a question. So if Trump is trying to defund federal aid for higher education, and he's already gotten rid of DEI programs, which would essentially protect the minority in the workplace, and he is supporting illegal immigrants, which essentially are working, those jobs out in the fields and all those hard jobs that nobody wants to work, what do you think his plan is, keeping in mind that at one point he said the immigrants were taking Black jobs? What did he mean with that? Are we talking about slavery? Because during slavery times, who were the ones who worked the fields?
Now, let me just try to put this a different way. I could have sworn that these were the same folks that said that Black Americans are lazy and that they were the ones that were, putting food on the plates and tables and doing this and doing that. And Black people were pretty much not doing anything. And that America owes them, a great deal of thanks because of all of the hard work of their people. Because they said that America is their land, correct? So I'm a little bit confused on why you're trying to shift this, because I like how she did it, right? She wanted to say that, okay, well, ISIS specifically coming for their group of people and all this other type of stuff. But then she's like, well, Black people, did you not pay attention to what the Trump administration and what they were saying? They were saying like, hey, they're clearing the field. They have brand new job openings, but the only thing that they're doing is specifically going after Hispanics, and Hispanics are the main ones working the fields. So does that mean that the Black jobs are basically the field, basically meaning that the Republicans and the conservatives, the Trump administration wants to bring back slavery? They want to put the Blacks directly in the fields. So you're trying to tell me that in order that you are basically the main stoppage when it deals with slavery. Is that what you're trying to say? You're trying to say that because your people are here is the reason that Black people aren't already working in the fields. And so that we can keep it that way, that Black Americans need to get up and start defending and speaking against ICE so that we can keep you guys there, which would then have Black Americans safely in their homes doing what it is that they've normally been doing for so long. It's quite weird how people want to try to paint themselves as some type of mysterious mystical savior and position themselves in that way, right? And this is why I got to go back and I gotta play the video yet again, because it seems like people tend to forget, because I like I said before, all of these folks got so much energy for Black Americans, but they tend to forget their own people.
Latinos in the U.S., let's do things the right way, and let's keep growing. Let's keep growing as a family, and let's make America great again.
Necesitamos a Trump. Let's make America great again.
A lot of Latinos, we stand strong next to President Trump. Let's make America great again. Let's go.
I'm just happy we in good hands. I know this 4 years is going to be one hell of a run. I know he's going to do a lot of great things for the whole Spanish community. Especially, we're going to make America great again.
I'm glad I gave that vote to Mr. Trump, and me and Anuel AA are here supporting. Que viva Puerto Rico, and let's make America great again.
Congratulations, President Trump.
We need you. We need you back, right?
You know who they are? Do you know who the hell they are? Come up here, just fast, fellas, come on. Because I don't know if these people know who the hell you are.
Yeah, of course they don't know who they are, because they're not white Americans. So no, they're not going to know. They're not country music stars. Of course they're not going to know. They're not rock and roll Hall of Famers. Of course they're not going to know. They're not white celebrities. Of course they're not going to know. This is why the workers in the background are just sitting back there looking, and they're bored. They don't actually care who those guys are. So just like how those guys in the background, they don't really care about those guys coming directly to the stage, I have that exact same look when it deals with this situation and how it is that people like this
Immigrants are
want to pull up to the scene, having, their face done and having all of these filters, and you want to specifically speak towards Black Americans. Why not have this energy for your own demographic? Why not? Matter of fact, all of those were Spanish speaking men. Why does she not have that energy for the men of her demographic that voted against her, that voted for ICE to come and basically take her directly out of her home or from her workplace or whenever it is that she's out there in traffic? Why not come after the men of your community that specifically enabled and voted for this to happen, that were proudly out there getting all types of claps? They were getting dapped up, pats directly on the back. They were getting the Make America Great Again hats. They were creating all types of songs, all types of videos. Why not go specifically after your demographic of men that enabled this versus coming after Black Americans? That's the question, again, that I have, and I can never, ever, ever find a response. Because for the longest time possible, even from like last year, I gave you guys videos where you got people that's a part of the Hispanic community specifically speaking towards Black Americans and trying to involve us and make this our fight. But I'm like, how? How? Y'all said that y'all knew what was best for y'all. Even the ones who were illegal, they were out there holding up Trump 2024 signs on the side of the road. They couldn't vote, but they sided with the side. So if you sided with that side, you better deal with the consequences of that situation. Like I told y'all before, I gave y'all a video of a Hispanic woman where she stated that the higher percentage, it was about 89 to 90 something percent of the workers there are illegal immigrants. But you know who she voted for? She voted for Trump. And when a Hispanic news anchor came there to interview her about this whole thing, she specifically asked her, she was like, so, if you know that the main percentage of your workers, the demographics are illegal immigrants, and you voted for Trump, what does that then mean? Like, what do you say to your workers? She was like, well, I voted for Mr. Trump because he said that he was going to make America great again, and he was going to help with, a lot of the businesses and small businesses. And I tell, my workers that, are legal, that it's going to be okay. How is it going to be okay? Because they're going to be up out of here. You had white farmers get online and start crying and regretting what it is that they did. When white people start getting online and crying, you already know it's a problem. You know it's a big problem. But I'm like, it'd be like that because you guys voted for what you called your best interest. So here you go. So I hopefully a lot of those white farmers, you better start getting your families or having more kids, as JD Vance basically told you guys. Go out there and have more kids. Go out there and multiply. Right? That's what Christianity and religion teaches y'all to do. Go out there and multiply and be bountiful and all the other type of good stuff. So white folks, go out there. Go out there and multiply and put your kids directly on those farms. Because you ain't gonna have Black people to sit up there and do it. Let me tell you that. You are not going to sit up there and find Black Americans talking about some me, pick me. I'll pick the strawberries. I'll pick the oranges. I'll pick the watermelon. You're not going to sit up there and have that happen. Good luck. I guess we're going to have more starving people directly here. I guess that's what's going to happen. I guess the prices for anything farm based is going to be going up. It'd be like that. People are made to I think, what do they normally call that in business? They pass on the cost to the consumer or what have you, right? When the farmers and everybody else don't want to take on that price, they pass the buck, so to say. So yeah, I guess it'd be like that. Everybody's gonna have to sacrifice and have to pay the cost for other people's poor decision making. It'd be like that. Anyways, let's continue.
Taking those jobs, and now the immigrants aren't here to do those jobs, and now you can't get a higher education. Who does he expect to go work the fields? I mean, in all seriousness. So should you also be worried and stand up for everything that's happening? Should the Black and brown join forces? Because there is a plan, and it's not just Hispanics, it's not just immigrants, it's not just illegals. It's going to start with us. But the whole goal is to keep the white man here, keep the Blacks and the browns here, and women oppressed.
Oh, she said that the blacks and the browns in the same boat. We're not doing that, sweetheart. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. How dare you? How dare you get on the internet and sit up there and lie as if people can't sit up there and research your forefathers and what it is that they fought for and specifically wanted, where they basically told white people that if you call anybody who is Mexican, Spanish speaking, anything but white, if you call them anything else, it is considered a slur. So you have to call them white. How dare you get online and try to make it seem as though that y'all are in the exact same boat as black Americans? How dare you? We can't sit up there and read with our own two eyes? Brother, what? Huh? What are we talking about? Huh? You had a time period in these United States that outwardly and openly y'all were classified as white. Black Americans never had no history like that. Like, yeah, we're just walking around. Huh? We're considered white. We're in these white neighborhoods. We in here. Nah. You know where we're in? We were in getting our churches burned down. We were in getting our homes burned down, our neighborhoods and our blocks, right? Our towns and our cities. And if they weren't getting burned down, they sat up there and went through the Bible. It was like, you know what? God said that he wasn't going to come through and use the whole thing of a flood. So we're gonna do fire, but we're just going to reverse it. But since God didn't come through and make it a second time, we're going to do both of them. So we're going to do the whole thing with fire, and then we're going to do the whole thing with flooding. So again, they took a page right out of their religious text and used it right on black Americans, all of our towns and our cities. We probably still at this moment in time, like a lot of forests and parks and things of that nature, those might have been actual grave sites, but you'll never know it. Because remember, you have a lot of area around the United States that is pretty much protected by the government. No telling what was actually there, who was actually there, what evidence of whatever is specifically there. Nobody will ever know, because no digging will ever take place. Because we know what happens when archaeologists tend to dig. The deeper the dig, the blacker it gets. And the more it's not looking or fitting the narrative of the story that they decide to sit up there and tell to a lot of folks, especially in these history books. So like I said before, there's a lot of information all over the place. It's just the fact that a lot of people want to run and get away from the information. And if you talk about the information, a lot of folks want to pull through and say that, oh, well, it's just the blacks being divisive. They're just get over slavery, get over reparations. Okay, cool, fine. So let's, put things to, just the early 1900s. No, that was so long ago. Nobody was alive. Okay, cool. Let's move it to the 1960s and the civil rights and all this. Well, what about the white people that sat up there was with the civil rights? It wasn't just you guys sitting up here. Yeah, okay, fine. Let's move it to the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers, they were a hate-filled group. They hated America, and they hated the whites and everybody and yeah. So what about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King? They start getting real silent then. Start getting real silent on what was the aftermath and what specifically happened and who specifically led to the loss of life when it deals with them. Right? Very interesting. Very interesting. It's nowhere that you can just so happen to go without people deciding to bring up and make some excuses of trying to say that Black Americans are being, racist or divisive or magically being anti-white or magically being xenophobic. Notice how that works, right? For the longest time possible, you had white folks out here trying to call Black Americans, anti-white, right? And then lo and behold, you started having a lot of these immigrants out here taking notes, and I'm like, oh, so this is what the white Americans like to say about the Black Americans. let's call it Black American xenophobic. Let's say that the Black Americans are anti-immigrant or anti African. Let's say that the Black Americans, hate everybody that doesn't look like them. And here we are. And then these are the same folks that decided to take a book out of the majority in this country and use some type of nonsensical rhetoric against Black Americans, and then in the same breath telling Black Americans that we need to come out and defend them. We need to come out and protest and body block. We need to speak against this, because if we don't, what's happening to them is going to happen to us. And as history has already told it, it's already been happening, past, present, and future. So the fear mongering and the scare tactics are not going to work. It would maybe work if the information and the knowledge wasn't just readily out there, if the internet might have been wiped clean, but it's not, at least at this moment in time. So I wonder what the next step is going to be within these next few, for the rest of this year. I wonder how they're going to try to mobilize, what propaganda they're going to put directly out there. Again, this is why I told a lot of Black Americans, you have to pay attention. Don't fall for the nonsense. When you look at these situations, be as logical as possible. Remove as much emotion that you can so that you can pay attention and look around. Because if you don't, you will just fall for any and everything. And that's not what you need to do. Because the same people that want you to fall for any and everything are the exact same people who would never defend you in a dark alley. If they saw you get mugged, they would just walk past and be like, well, that's them. I still got my milk, cans of beans and rice. I'm about to sit up there and go directly home. That's what they're going to sit up there and do. They're going to go with their groceries or whatever it is that they got going on, and they're going to mind their business. And all I'm saying is, for a lot of Black Americans, you too should mind your business. Because again, these are the same folks that like to bring up the negative stereotypes. When they talk about Black men, they want to sit up there and say that, oh, well, Black men are criminals, Black men are this, and Black men are that, and da 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 da. Well, I'm like, if that's the case, then why do you want Black men at these protests? That's a little bit weird. Wouldn't you want upstanding citizens? Wouldn't you want great citizens directly out there? Right? All you can be, wouldn't you want those folks out there? But you don't. These are the same folks that want to run around and talk about Black American women, while at the same time of talking about Black American women, they like to copy and jock the styles and claim the styles of Black American women, while also talking about them negatively and playing out negative stereotypes. Color me surprised. Color me surprised. Diabolical in nature. But people think that we forget. And then when you bring it up, people want to sit up there and say, oh, well, those are just, a few, that's just a few individuals. It doesn't speak for the many. But then I happen to bring up the fact that Latins out here had multiple lawsuits dealing with racial discrimination, and they were able to get their money, and they wanted to exclude the Blacks, aka the Black Americans. Color me surprised on that. Why would you do that? I thought, as the woman stated previously, I thought she said that the Black and brown were at the same level. But when it dealt with a lot of these high profile lawsuits, such as that Google lawsuit I keep referring to, it seems that we're not on the same level, since they wanted to exclude the Blacks from the lawsuit. And they specifically went to the judge and said that they wanted to exclude Black Americans from that lawsuit. Huh. But we're supposed to have a bond. We're supposed to formulate something. It's supposed to be a symbiotic relationship. It's supposed to be a kumbaya. All right. Yeah, nah, I'm not buying that. Like I said, it's nonsensical. It is straight nonsense directly out here. Diabolical. Wait, did we finish that video with that lady? Yeah, we did. Like I said, it is straight nonsense out here, man. It's nonsense how a lot of these people want to start moving, and they want to start rewriting history when it deals with a lot of things, right? I know the Negroes aren't getting their full share of democracy, but frankly, I'm prejudiced against Negroes, and I do not believe that they are entitled to everything that we get. Signed, a Mexican. Huh. Color me surprised. Color Me surprised. And then I'll have people pull up to the scene, talking about like, "Oh, well, you're bringing up these four people as if they represent a whole demographic." Yeah, they do. These are the forefathers. It's like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like I said, Asians are the model minority. They either think or want to be close to whiteness as much as possible. And anybody who is a part of the Spanish speaking population consider themselves white or are considered white or mark themselves down on paper as white. So again, how can all of these folks try to say that they're as the moniker or branding that people like use, persons or people of color? Since when? Everybody want to be considered white except for Black Americans. Like, what are we talking about? Like I said, it's just full on. It's foolishness out here. Full on foolishness. Like I said, the same thing with the Asian population, with the dismantling when it deals with affirmative action and DEI. Y'all did it to yourselves. 100% y'all did it to yourselves. And now y'all want to blame everybody else. Like, that is some crazy, that is 100% crazy work. Let me see something real quick. Like I said, it is crazy out here. What's this dude name? And then we got another one. Let me see. That's the dude's name. I kept getting the name completely wrong. Right? And then you got folks like this, just in case if y'all don't know who this is, let me see if I can get his picture. Right? So what's the best picture? Yeah, we'll just go with that one, right? And then you got people like this, right? And then you'll have those other groups siding directly with an individual like this, which is Edward Bloom, right? So we go back, and Edward Bloom is a conservative legal strategist and founder of the Project on Fair Representation and Students for Fair Admissions. Best known for engineering the 2023 Supreme Court decision banning race conscious admissions in higher education. Without formal legal training, Bloom has orchestrated numerous lawsuits against affirmative action and voting rights policies, often representing white or Asian American plaintiffs. So yeah, shout out to the Asian community because y'all did this. Y'all a lot. And again, they said that he don't have nothing. Right? So then going back to the Asian community, right? Let's go directly up to what this post stated here, and this is back from 2018. Right? And again, this is a shout out to the Asian communities and the many others directly out there. Read this real quick. What y'all see right there? It says, "Meet Edward Bloom, the man who wants to kill affirmative action in higher education." Mm. This is also the same man that specifically went after black women who were solely trying to fund and distribute money to black American women because they understood that 9 times out of 10 black American women are not going to get the funding and the money that they need in order to have a startup or a startup business. So you would have Edward Bloom, he came directly in and he was like, "Oh no, that's racist. You can't only sit up there and just give money just to one group because of, their color or who it is that they are," and cause all types of problems, a whole list of things. So yeah, like I said, you can't tell nobody nothing. You can't sit up there and tell nobody nothing. But again, you got folks out here that's trying to tell black Americans that we need to go out there and defend and stand up and fight for everybody else. Yeah, nah, no thank you. Yeah, I got it. Y'all 100% got it. Like I said, you got these folks out here doing nonsense, and they've been doing nonsense for the longest time possible versus being focused on any other group of people. This is what they want to sit up there and do. This is how people want to sit up there and move. Like I said, that's crazy to me. What was it? What was the other one? I did have another picture directly up there I wanted to read from. Let me highlight that for you guys real quick. I got to take some of these down. Let me take down Edward Bloom photo directly right there. I think that was the whole thing dealing with ice. Right. Give you guys this other image. I think it might be on the desktop there. Yeah. Right. So y'all can see the full page just in case y'all want to look up yourselves. And it says GAIN, which is Gang Activity Information Network. It says Latino gangs targeted blacks. Nearly 150 alleged members, associates indicted in Southern California. Right. Let me zoom this in for myself so I can see. They said a Latin street gang waged a racist campaign to eliminate the city's black residents through attempted murders and other crimes, according to a federal racketeering indictment unsealed Thursday. 5 indictments charged a total of 147 members and associates of the Valero Hawaiian Gardens gang, and federal and local agencies arrested 63 of them by early Thursday. Another 35 defendants were already in custody on unrelated charges. Weapons and drugs worth more than $1 million were also seized in what O'Brien called, quote, the largest gang takedown in United States history. The indictment detailed attempted murders, kidnappings, firearms, narcotics, and other charges related to attacks by the gang, which is predominantly Latino and mainly operates in Hawaii Gardens, a city of about 15,000 in southern Los Angeles County. Valero Hawaiian Gardens gang members take pride in their racism and often refer to VHG gang as a hate gang. The main indictment stated, quote, VHG gang members have expressed a desire to rid the city of Hawaiian Gardens of all African American and have engaged in a systematic effort to achieve the results by perpetrating crimes against African Americans. Right. So they got a list of different things that happened. They said shots fired into a home. The indictment alleges a string of attacks on black residents, including a shooting into a home with 8 people inside. The indictment does not say if anyone was hit. In another instance, 2 gang members allegedly chased a black man, yelled racist epithets at him, and then beat him with a garden rake. The same man was later reportedly stabbed by 2 gang members, according to the indictment, which charged them with his attempted murder. According to a 2000 census data, the latest available, Hawaiian Gardens was roughly 73% Hispanic and 4% black. Hawaiian Gardens Mayor Michael Gomez welcomed the crackdown by saying, quote, honest residents should not have to live in fear of lawless thugs who act like it's high noon at the OK Corral. The indictment marked at least the second time in less than 2 years that federal authorities have accused Latino gang members of attacking black residents because of their race. Local officials have tried to downplay racial tensions. Deputies murder prompts investigations. The investigation of the Valero Hawaiian Gardens gang began in June of 2005 after the murder of Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Luis Gerardo, Jerry Ortiz, Jose Luis Orzoco, a member of the gang, was sentenced to death in 2007 for the killing. Ortiz, 35, died as he searched for Orzoco, who had shot and wounded a man while he did yard work. Orzoco was later found guilty of attempted murder in that case. Quote, it was the hatred of African Americans that may have spurred the attack on Deputy Jerry Ortiz, who was killed trying to arrest a gang member suspected of trying to shoot an African American in the back. Huh. Color me surprised. Look at that. All of those crimes that were specifically reported as happening to Black Americans because of their race. But yet you got all of these other folks out here telling Black Americans that, oh, we need to stand up. We need to speak out against ICE because, what happens to them is going to happen to us. But yet they don't want to specifically be honest again about how their own people, their own demographic specifically target and come after Black Americans, especially when they got the numbers, come after Black Americans and attempt to or take our lives. They try to get us directly out of the blocks by force, by threats, by coercion, by fire bombings, by shootings, all because of race. And they got hate gangs directly out there, but yet Black Americans are the problem? That's wild. That is wild. So again, this is just added to the list. I might just have to, read this stuff off, as like a solo video, at some point, just to have it as a reminder for people out there as to why it is that Black Americans don't want to stand up. Better yet, it's not even that they don't want to stand up. They don't have to, because things like this happen. And I'm not trying to hear some magical Captain Saver pop up on the screen talking about some, oh, well, that's just only one group of people that happen in one place in the United States. That's not indicative of the whole other groups directly out there and and how it is that they got people in their family of mixed race. I ain't trying to hear none of that. That's great. You got this whole kumbaya. You got mixed bloodlines. That's cool. That's great. So you're a little bit too far into it, so you can't really see it. I get it. Got it. Good. Move directly to the side and allow everybody else who can completely see what it is for what it is, have an opinion, speak directly on it, and continue to make sure that people don't act on these situations emotionally. Because you can clearly see, again, by what you see in front of you, you can see what emotional people do. Hey, we don't like the blacks, so we're going to formulate a gang and pretty much get rid of them because we got the numbers over here. We're the higher percentile. Like I said, they're 73%, and you're worried about the 4% that's there. You're trying to get them up out of there. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, man. This is why Black Americans don't need to pull up to the scene and defend nobody out here, because you got stuff like this. Like I said, this is open paperwork. People, like I said, this is why I got it directly on screen, so you can type it in, look it up, whatever you want to sit up there and do, and get the information directly for yourself, so you can have it. So nobody can just sit up there and tell you like, oh, you're just getting this from like some YouTuber. Like, did you actually read it? It's directly on the screen. You can just type it in. Because a lot of people will tend to do things like that too in order to try to say that the information is not, factual. It's like, oh, you're just getting it directly from off of YouTube and no. You just type it in yourself. Like I said, it's crazy out here. It is diabolical out here. And like I said, even if it gets to the point, let's say if it does get to the point where you got ICE agents stopping Black Americans. All right, cool, no problem. Here, ID, Black American, right there. We're moving on. Like I said, I got a video of that happen. It was a Black American dude and his girl directly in traffic. ICE sat up there. I guess they were in traffic or whatnot, whatever. They saw them, came directly to the car. The dude sat up there and gave the license. I guess the license got ran. They gave it back, and that was it. And they got back in the car and left. See how simple that was? People sitting up there, oh no, they sitting up here snatching up, Black Americans. They putting us all in these jails and all these prisons, and they sending us around the world, and we got to fight against it. No, they're not. No, everybody else is getting sent somewhere. Black Americans are not. Like I said, do not fall for the nonsense out here. Do not fall for the nonsense directly out here. Like I said, it's crazy work. 100%. Let me see. Also, shout out to anybody that's been having some conversations directly in the chat. Much love, respect, and appreciation. That man said Charlie was safer in Chicago. Yeah, he probably was. Probably was. What was it? Da, da, da. So we got some people up there talking about this is done. You know, the craziest part is when I mentioned the whole thing with affirmative action, you got folks directly out there having some type of disagreement, specifically with what I was saying about what was it, Edward Bloom or whatnot, or whatever. But knowing the fact that after affirmative action was pretty much eradicated, people found out along with DEI and all that stuff, right? The main people that were profiting the most of that was white women and people of other races, statistically speaking. Like even with the initiatives like DEI even being present, and again, I went directly over the information. White women were the main ones that were getting the most directly from it. Like it's crazy to me that people don't just so happen to look stuff up when they want to have a complaint or an issue about what it is that I'm talking about. Like I said, that was the whole main purpose of white guys out here getting rid of. Let me see. Let me go back real quick because I know I still got people in the comment section. Um, all right. I wish it would actually give the percentages like it did before. But yeah, it says yes, research and expert analysis suggests that white women have disproportionately benefited from diversity, equity, and inclusion or DEI programs, particularly affirmative action. Let me just put it up there. Let me just put it directly up there because people want to sit up there and play games directly in this live stream. Again, this is a whole live stream. This is not a video. So you didn't came to the right place. Came to the right place. Like I said, look it up for yourself. So it says, yes, research and experts analysis suggests that white women have disproportionately benefited from diversity, equity, and inclusion or DEI programs, particularly affirmative action, gaining significant entry and advancement in professional fields, while women of color, especially Black women, still face greater systematic hurdles despite these initiatives. Studies show that white women securing more leadership roles and opportunities in corporate America and education, though often still lagging behind white men, with some DEI efforts unintentionally favoring those with existing advantages. So, yes, the reason why you had fields of white men directly out here deciding that they wanted to get rid of DEI and affirmative action is because white men were not seeing enough of themselves represented directly in these corporate jobs, in these higher positions. So in order to break that down, white men were like, all right, we're about to get these women directly up out of here so we can get directly to the forefront so that we can be the representation, have our names up there, have our faces up there. We're going to put these women back in the kitchen. That's what y'all did. So again, it baffles me when y'all want to pull up to the scene on my live stream and y'all want to try to, have these conversations and these problems about what it is that I was specifically talking about, but y'all don't want to actually get to the real meat of the situation, which is the fact that y'all didn't like the fact that your women were basically ahead of you. Your women were outpacing you. Your women were, quote unquote, as y'all would say, were taking your positions or positions that you feel that only white men should have. Like I said, that's some crazy work. That's wild. And anybody can Google this. Anybody can Google this. That's, like I said, that is wild. That is wild. That is wild. Lord have mercy. Let me see this. So let's go to another one, right? Let's go to another one because people, they tend to like numbers, right? So I got you. So just in case, people got a problem with, oh, look at the viewership falling down. I guess people don't happen to like the information that's up there. Too bad. So they said, what group benefited the most from DEI? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go to the bottom. They said, what race is the majority of DEI hires? White. They said approximately 370,000 people worked in OEHS. About 21% are women. BLS finds that while approximately 79% of the employees in the industry are white, only 9% are black or African American. Huh. Look at that. Look at that. Let's go to the next one, because I know that people like numbers yet again, because we gotta talk about the blacks and how it is that they just get jobs that they don't even deserve. Let's look at the blacks, as they like to say, right? So then after that, it says, do black people only comprise 4% of DEI positions in the workplace? It said, according to a report, black people only constitute 4% of DEI supervisory positions in the workforce, compared to 76. Whew, that's a major number there. Look at that, 76% of white people. According to the report, black people only constitute 4% of DEI supervisory positions in the workforce, compared to 76% of white people. Wow. Matter of fact, let's take it to a whole nother boat, right? Because we're just giving DEI information directly at this moment in time. Because again, people like to always come through in the comment section. They want to start talking and running their mouth. So let's add this little piece directly up there. They said, did DEI benefit black people? Diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI initiatives, are designed to address systematic barriers in the workforce, prompting equal opportunities for underrepresented groups. While these efforts have yielded progress for some demographics, black women, let me say that again, black women remain among the last to benefit. So what did we learn here, folks? Overall, white people benefited from DEI and affirmative action, right? But more specifically, white women benefited the most in comparison to black people in general. But to be more specific, white women benefited the most, even though DEI was used in order to address this problem within this system of how it is that black folks tend not to get these positions, even if they have, the type of qualifications that match up, or even if they're overqualified. Even with all of that information and all of that knowledge that they have, black women are still the last to benefit from it. So yeah. Color me surprised. Color me surprised. That's crazy. But like I said, it has some people, directly up there, up yonder, some minutes ago, that wanted to start, saying some stuff. But magically, those people ain't here no more. I'm like, that's a little bit weird. Numbers, started dropping when you start putting out information. I'm like, wow, we were at like 160. And then once we started, going into information anybody could look up, numbers dropped down 30 real quick. I'm like, huh. That's crazy. That's diabolical. While companies voluntarily adopted policies to address racial discrimination in the workplace during the 1960s and 70s, they were designed to help the number of marginalized groups, including religious minorities and veterans. But white women have benefited the most from DEI programs. It's crazy. What else we got directly here? I mean, we could go for affirmative action, but I don't think it really matters at this moment in time, right? Because affirmative action, it no longer exists. DEI, it no longer exists. So, also, this is why I like bringing this up to any white women that are watching. Shout out to y'all, because y'all are willing, among past any other race out here, you guys are willing to sacrifice every single thing in order to make sure the men that you say that oppress you on an everyday basis keep that exact same oppressive power. Shout out to y'all. Y'all the only ones out here doing that type of work. That's whew. Like I said, let me just I gotta clap it up directly for y'all. Y'all will sit up there and sacrifice everything, but then turn around and start having protests talking about they're taking away the rights of your bodies and They're trying to, make you into the handmaid's tales, and they just, want you to be barefoot, brides, or barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. I mean, but this is what y'all wanted. Y'all sacrificing y'all jobs, y'all schooling, y'all education, y'all independence, and all of this stuff. And now you quote unquote want to go online and stuff and start crying about it. That's wild. I ain't never seen this before. You've been a victor for so long, and now you want to turn around and try to play victim. That's wild. You went from victor to victim in a matter of one election. Yo, that is crazy. That is 100% diabolical. But I love it though. I love it. And again, shout out to the folks that wanted to pull up to the scene and wanted to say something in the comment section, thinking I ain't see that. Yeah, I saw you. I was just waiting in the background. Like I said, it takes a little bit to type stuff on a dark keyboard. It be like that sometimes, but we'll always have the information. Yo, that is crazy. That is diabolical. Mo was like, too late. I tried. That's crazy. Hey, I've tried to warn people, just like Black Americans tried to warn everybody else. I keep trying to warn people when they come directly to this live stream that I may have patience, but my moderators don't. So you can try their patience if you want to. You will be directly in the shadow realm. Shout out to Kaiba and Mokuba and Joey, because you're gonna see them right there with you. Everybody gonna be having seats in there. It's never too full. It is never too full. That is diabolical. Somebody said, to be fair, calling somebody a colonizer isn't that productive either, regardless of what they say. I mean, so okay, I got you, no problem. So my question to Dragon, right? So what do you call a group of people that only know chaos, destruction, war, and the taking and the pillaging of lands by ways of coercion, of murder, of other nefarious, ways? What do you specifically call those people? Because you can't just call them thieves. You can't just call them pirates. Because historically speaking, colonization is something that has taken place all over the world. So that would, in a sense, be the definition of the people of which that we are talking directly about. Right. But again, you're saying take the colonization thing off the board. Cool, no problem. So what do you specifically call them? That's all I'm trying to figure out. Somebody said call them humans. No. I'm sorry. That's not happening. Wait. Let me just make this very clear, right? So historically speaking, you've had a group of people that have decided to go to and from, causing waves of destruction, causing extinction to take place. I want you to understand what I'm saying. Extinction. The last time people heard anything of extinction dealt with the dinosaurs. So we know what the asteroid did, supposedly, correct? So if you got a group of people going around in boats doing the exact same thing on whatever landmass, how would you dare call them human beings? Human beings have common sense. Human beings can work with rationale and logic. Human beings actually have a soul, a spirit. That's not what I'm talking about or describing here. D-Money said, call them Christians. You know what? You're right. You're right. So for the people out there that said that y'all didn't want me to call them colonizers, I'm going to roll with D-Money. And I'm instead of using colonizers, I'm just going to call them Christians. That's a good one. I'll wait for people to have a problem with that one. I'll wait for people to come through with a disagreement with that one. Dragon said, well, there are plenty of labels that you can give people. I'm just saying that using the label isn't productive. Our ancestors were colonizers, sure, but I wouldn't give present day people that label. Okay. So I'm a little bit confused. Little bit confused, right? No problem, right? Fair. So in this timeline, right? And I'm going to list the timeline of which, my grandmother was born in like 1938, right? So 1938 to now. So if we're not going to use the terminology, colonizer, so what do we label people who steal land from another group of people? Because we've had Black Americans over time that have had acres of land, but then for whatever reason, it was stolen or taken away by way of the government and given directly to white people. So I'm like, what do we specifically do with that? Because I get what people are going to sit up there and say. They're going to be like, well, my ancestors and my family had nothing to do with it. That's cool. But again, as a whole, when it deals with a lot of this land being taken from one to and given to another, that is a form of giving, generational wealth, because with that land that they can just so happen to lease it, they can put very important structures directly there. They could decide to make a farm so that they can harvest. And again, they're making money directly off of that land, which is not even specifically there. Like I said, it's a lot of things that you can do with land, and it's a lot of ways that you can make money and also keep money that, again, the original people are not going to sit up there and even get their hands directly on. You said they could be colonizers if they went about things like our ancestors, pillagers, or warmongers, like individuals like Genghis Khan, etc., etc. Right? The new gent said that eminent domain has stolen American land from many people. But see, this is the thing. I'm not just talking about many people. I'm talking about specifically Black Americans. I'm not trying to all lives matter this situation. Because normally what happens when I have conversations, a lot of white folks will sit up there and try to tell Black Americans, oh, just stay on the topic, stop moving to and from. I'm staying on the topic. I'm only worried about and specifically talking about and speaking on Black Americans. And Black Americans have had their lands stolen a variety of ways, such as going back and looking at the cities and the towns that have been burned, that have been turned into ponds, into lakes, forest. You've had structures being erected directly on, whatever ashes were left from the pillaging and the murders and all of those things that transpired and took in place. So again, I can only speak about my own people and what it is that I know. Even going as so far as from documentaries where white folks have done documentaries about these stories and put together things. And when it is a white folks dealing with these and making these documentaries, they can even take it a step further because they have the complexion, so that they can actually go into a lot of these, old rural backwoods areas, and they can find people from those time periods that have relics, right? They got all of these things that they've collected, over time, and they still have those. So that means that, like, a lot of white folks like to say, well, oh, that was so long ago, nobody here is alive, and nobody remembers that. No, there's a lot of people that still are alive that remember those times. They got a lot of the postcards, they got a lot of the pictures, they got a lot of the newspaper clippings from those time periods where white mobs would just go directly through Black towns and cities, and they would burn crosses, and they would do a variety of things. Again, I'm not even talking about slavery, not even talking about none of that. I'm talking about stuff that was happening during the time period of my grandmother's birth. Again, we're dealing with the 1930s. We still got a lot of elders in these United States that are alive from that time period. So all I'm saying is it's not that long ago. It's not that long ago at all. You know? Let's see. Somebody said, and they were taking land from Black Americans by trickery. Yeah, yeah. Ty said, did the stream reset? What you mean? Wait, Ty, what you mean? Did the stream reset? Somebody said I'm not policing any form of language or grammar. No, nor would I want to start, I guess. The new gent said, I agree. There have been times in history that have been bad. I mean, it's not just times in history that have been bad. Times in history, I mean, everything that has happened in the past is still happening in the present. It's just dressed up differently, and people don't recognize or realize it. And the main thing that I sit up and tell to a lot of folks, especially white folks, is that all of the dragons that you guys have made talking about the military, the police, and the government, all of that stuff that y'all send all over the world to do all of those things that we read about, and we think that people deserve medals or honors, they deserve to come back and this that and the third and get praised and whatnot or whatever. All of that same training, all that same bloodlust, and all that stuff that goes on there, what do you think is going to happen when they come back home? You done sent men and women to go over and do all of this stuff for 5 to 10 to 15 years. So all they basically know for 5 to 15 years is basically war. They're constant. They need constant dopamine hit, constant adrenaline. They need all of these things in order to basically function and work, because they're going to go crazy if they don't have this, because they've been so used to it. They've been so amped up for so long. What do you think is going to happen when they sit up there and come back home? They're going to be ready to sit up there and fight. So now the main thing that people have to sit up there and figure out is, who do you want those military personnel to sit up there and fight for? Do you want them to sit up there and fight for the American people and with the American people, or do you want them fighting directly with the government? And because the American people cannot make up their mind or their own decision making, the government does what it normally always does, and it made the decision for you, and they chose themselves. So all of those military personnel are coming back, and they're making their privatized security force for these billion-dollar, trillion-dollar corporations in these United States. They're directly in the police. They put themselves in the National Guard. They're protecting all of these other interests out here and not protecting you. So now what does that leave you? What does that mean? That then means that if anything happens in these United States, that those same people that you wanted to give medals to, the same people that you wanted to award, the same people that you wanted to praise, that you wanted to love, that you wanted to back for all of these years for doing the things that, quote unquote, for our freedoms and in all of these other lands, they're going to do those exact same things to you and your family, and there's going to be nothing that you can do about it. So the exact same thing that you watch the military and the police and the government do to Black communities way back when, since the inception of the country, is going to fall on your shoulders and in your lap and on your front door. And there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. There's going to be nobody that you can go to cry to, nobody that you can run to. There is no amount of protection, no amount of preparedness that you can have in order to deal with the United States government. And that's just a fact. So just like you have the immigrants now, where they messed around and found out, for white Americans, it's the exact same thing for you. You just don't see it yet. And like I said, Black people can try to explain this many different ways. And again, Black Americans have always tried to keep history alive. We've tried to keep the good, the bad, and the ugly. But we especially tried to put the bad and the ugly directly up there, because we got unresolved issues directly with that when it deals with this country. And we also want to keep that up there so that other people that are not from here can learn from that and understand and realize that what happened in the past can inevitably happen in the future. And we also want to keep it up there to let a lot of white folks know that, hey, sooner or later, once your government and your military and police perfect whatever it is that they wanted to sit up there and do, once they perfect that by using it on the Black community so many times and it's perfected, you're not going to be able to fight it. There's nothing you're going to be able to do. Like I said, y'all allowed this to happen. That's some crazy work. That's some diabolical work though, but y'all figure it out though. Wait, Mo said, is somebody getting a free ticket? I mean, technically, I've seen him say some stuff. I see who you're talking about, Mo. Oh, Ty said I legit just got another notification saying you went live. Um, I mean, that probably happened because maybe like the other channel, possibly. That's probably what happened. So it'd be like that. When it deals with YouTube, at least the notification is going out there, so that's good. D Money said Cowboys owner Jerry Jones grew up in segregation. Yeah, and they found him. And then who did you have? You had Stephen A. Smith. He wanted to come up there and body block for Jerry Jones, but like, oh, he was young back then, he probably didn't even really know what it was. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, you can't help people out here. I never forget when I saw that dude on television trying to apologize. I'm like, yo, how much money? The money that they are paying Stephen A. Smith has to be grand for him to get up there and automatically in defense mode, and nobody even asked him to do it. Nobody. But that's what he did. But it'd be like that. You said it could be YouTube issues. Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is true. Let me see what. Let me try to roll back down. Also, excuse me. Shout out to any and all of my moderators that are currently here at this moment in time. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Let me see. Ricky said yesterday, if you give any one of these brothers or sisters a couple of million, they will turn their backs on the moment in a heartbeat. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I got you. Dragon said, if it doesn't happen, it isn't colonization yet. I don't agree with the aggression towards one in Greenland, but we haven't taken any of it. I mean, well, like I said, they don't get again that, and I just want to note this, right? The whole thing with Greenland, I just want to be the first one to say that the whole quote unquote America trying to take Greenland, that has nothing to do with Black Americans. I just want to put that out there. So I'm not trying to hear nobody try to spin this or trying to make it seem like this is a Black American problem. It is not. It is not, because it don't matter what situation is going on here. Somehow, some way, people will always try to put Black Americans up there to the forefront to make us responsible, or to try to mobilize us, or to try to get a reaction. Like I said, don't nobody got time. Don't nobody got time. Ricky said, you just described the Vietnam vets. Like I said, what's the man's name? I can't even think about the wrestler. Oh my goodness! And I just put him up there. Somebody know who I'm talking about. Retired wrestler. And he's the main one, talking about the government and all the things going on. I can see his face and I can hear his voice right now. I just can't get his name. That's the thing that's messing me up real quick. Sir Eric said, I live in California. These people treat us Black Americans like ish. I wouldn't lift a finger to help any of them. Trust me, I'm 100% with you. Keem said, what's up, Keem? You said you got to remember that Stephanie is from immigrant stock. Didn't know that. I think maybe I might remember that a little bit, but you get so focused on all the stuff that he's sitting up there saying. So it pretty much moves that out the way real quick. Like that is crazy out here. Shahara said he could just be an Uncle Ruckus and doing it for the love of a master. I mean, yeah, that's true. Mad Dog Williams said, yo, what is up? Said agree. Sham said, even if you ain't trying to take it yet, doesn't change. America still acts like a colonizer. They didn't take Greenland yet, but they certainly did Venezuela. Thank you, Jesse Ventura. Thank you. Yeah. And that was one of the guys that I played a video. I think I might have still got the video somewhere on like my IG when it was talking about some stuff. And I'm like, everything that they said in that video pretty much played out how it happened. And I'm like, that's wild. And I'm like, yep, that's part of the reason why the show was taken off the air. And that was way before anything happened. That was back in the 2000, like the early 2000s too. That's the wild part. Like I said, it's a lot of information out there. But it was Jesse Ventura. Black said, I think some of us Black Americans should work for ICE. It's good money. My people, that's crazy. I'm not trying to get caught up in nothing. D Money said Undertaker. No, Undertaker is strictly Republican. He ain't about to say nothing bad about the government. He ain't about him and Kane. I think him, Kane, and probably Triple H. But yeah, he ain't about to say nothing bad about that. Somebody said McMahon, nah. And man, he got a whole host of other problems, at this moment in time. Like I said, I don't know what specifically happened behind the scenes, but it's real amazing how, a lot of those things came up. Of course, whenever there's money, a lot of money in a situation. Mad Dog said the former Minnesota governor. Yeah. Akeem said Stephanie Smith is second generation Caribbean. Jesse the Body Ventura. Dragon said Venezuela is a different scenario, and we didn't take the country either. We took their tyrant false leader. Fernio says straight up about California. All the Mexicans say the N-word now. I check them every time, and they get mad. Yo, fair use. What is up? Much love, respect, and appreciation. Let me see what else we got. Dragon said, I don't condone everything ICE does either, but I won't sit here and crucify every action they take. Akeem said Venezuela was a play on OPEC, not America control, not America. Controls most of the oil in the Western Hemisphere. Trump's advisors playing for the chest. Let me go back up. Did I miss? Who is that? Ricky. Yeah. Ricky said he knows how to keep his past. Wait. He knows how to keep his past out the ghetto, I guess. Yo, crazy. What is up? You said he was a United States citizen. Oh, you must be responding to somebody else. And you said an ICU nurse at a Minneapolis Veterans Affairs healthcare system had no criminal records beyond parking tickets. Okay. Yo, what is up, Mo? What is up? Ricky said this is a land grab, like over there in Europe. And Akeem said, not going to have to take Greenland. They will volunteer to participate. Hey, like I said, it's a lot of stuff going on. And I mean, there's a lot of chess moves happening. A whole land grab. It's almost like playing a game of Risk, at this moment in time. So we're going to see what's going to take place and what is going to happen. It's not going to end well. Also, on top of that, I think I did read about the amount of money that was offered. Let me see if I can get the article. United States offers money to buy. Yeah, I forgot the amount of money. Yeah, I think that should be it. And I think there was like some more money on top of that. Technically, that woman down there is looking kind of Asian. I will sit up there and put that out there. Let me put this directly up there, right? So as we can clearly see in front of us, it says that buying Greenland could cost as much as $700 billion. The estimate is part of a planning around Trump's efforts to bring Greenland into the United States fold, with Secretary of State Marco Rubio tasked with crafting a proposal to purchase the semi-autonomous Danish territory. Let me just sit up there and tell you, that would jack up a lot of things there. And the other thing that I find interesting, and this is just me throwing like the whole conspiracy thing directly out there. there's a movie out there with Butler, This is Sparta, and it's called Greenland. And basically the end of the world, happens from this cataclysmic, type of thing that takes place. So you watch part one and see what happens, and then you happen to look at part two, which is basically the aftermath when they finally open up these arcs or these vaulted doors, to see how the world transformed. And now you got all of the people that were in these vaults. They have to come out into this new world that a lot of other people have already, gotten used to and figured out ways to survive in. So you got these super geostorms and all these other types of things, that that tends to happen and all this other type of stuff. But yeah, I find it a little bit weird, and other people have listed that with the United States or Trump trying to take Greenland is akin to something that Elon Musk's family member, I think it was like his father or his grandfather, was talking about doing for very specific for race reasons, right? I think it should have been Canada and it should have been Greenland. So you would have had the United States, Canada, and Greenland. That would have been all a part of one main thing. So I mean, you can take that last part with like a grain of salt, but you can look that up if you would like. Justin Lee said everything that's going on was bound to happen. The natural resources of the world was going to start to run out. The powers that be was going to always take resources if they need it. It ain't nothing new. But the craziest part about that is that resources ain't running out. We got a lot of different elements and stuff and unknown. We got tons of hundreds or thousands of unknown elements that we don't know nothing about, that all of the greatest world minds could come together and try to figure out and create in order to, make some type of energy. But again, you got people who are about greed and control and chaos. They want to just specifically be on this one route, taking that as far back to what was like the 60s or the 70s, where the automotive industry came out with electric cars, and then the big three came together. Not big three, I'm sorry. You had the oil and everybody else come together in order to kill off the electric cars. And I think those were killed off somewhere during like the early 70s or whatnot, whatever. So we've been had electric cars. We already had them, right? Electric cars are not anything new at all. But due to the fact that a lot of people are going to lose money when it dealt with electric cars, they were like, yeah, we can't allow this to happen. So they got rid of it. So now they bring back electric cars because they figure out a way to specifically make money off of them, which is, by the batteries or some of the other things directly in there, where they'll make sure that the electric cars that they sell you have a limited time use, so that you got to get them, every such and such years, or to make sure that they're going to have certain types of defects. Because people got to realize, like, they have tech out here to make things, last for a very, very long time. This is why people say that, dealing with certain technologies from, let's say, like the 40s, 50s, and 60s, like refrigerators and stoves, were a lot better than what it is that we have now, because those things are actually well made. Like the refrigerators back then, as some people stated, like, hey, it can help you if a nuclear bomb ever went off, right? Versus the refrigerators that we got now, it's like, yeah, them bad boys are melting. It's like, it's good luck. It is good luck, directly on that one, but it'd be like that. Akeem said, I'm waiting on them to handle the Somalians and protesters like they've been handling black folks for decades. Water cannons, police dogs, battering rams, stop and frisk, jump and grab, all of that. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. They ain't gonna do it. Like I said, they need black Americans on the forefront in order to get anything started, because they want to have a fall guy at the end of the day. The any of the industries and everybody wants to have somebody to blame. Nobody wants to be the front runner, when it deals with the fallout of that. Rabbit said, look up the Stone/Hammer song from the old Simpsons. Who killed off the electric car? I think I know the episode you're talking about. Sham said, just because Trump is the president, why does that make it our fight? As far as I'm concerned, not one president that held office after FDR was a president for the people. So no, he's not my president. Yep. Like I said, it's crazy out here. It is diabolical. Also, the funniest thing is I didn't actually expect this live stream to be 2 hours and 30 minutes because with the little bit that I had directly up there, I'm like, all right, it's probably gonna be like 45 minutes at max, maybe 55. Right. But we ended up going to about a good 2 hours and 30 minutes. Pretty good. Pretty good. Not bad at all. Akeem says, so you're saying that they're not doing their job because we are not involved. Michelle said that, wait, white here who has a bit of ancestry in America, just listening, but I see black people who have historical roots in America very differently than Haitian others, and who weds any of us cite that will. Oh, I think you mean like ICE will take them. I guess that's what you're saying. I kind of I kind of get what you're saying. It was a. I think your reply was a little bit confusing, slightly, but I think I get what you're saying. I kind of get what you're saying. Jay Great said electric cars are a bad idea. The grid is not ready for that. When I'm on the road driving, I see plenty of Teslas on the road, on the side of the road, or driving slow because the charge is low. It's either hybrids or gas. Taylor said, have you seen the movie Civil War from 2025? That's the road we are going down. Tibby said, is the stream lagging? I mean, I guess you'll probably have to refresh the Steam. I said Steam as if I'm talking about the games. I mean stream. I guess that's the best way that you would have to sit up there and do it technically. You would just have to refresh it. Because sometimes that will happen. Ricky said, Black Man of America is the blueprint for all the bad guys that are being seen worldwide. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That is, that is pretty much it. But it's like, if it's just a solid villain, it's like, yes. But if it's a bad good guy / anti-hero, it's like, nah. They're going to leave that to everybody else. Like I said, it's crazy, how that tends to work. But back to Jada Great, you said electric cars are bad. The craziest part is, with the type of technology and everything that we have within the last 20 years throughout the United States, we have the manpower to update the grid. We could have, all the money that we spent on wars and sending directly to other countries, we could have upgraded our grid. We really could have. But for whatever reason, the United States government is like, we don't care about the grid. We don't care if all it takes is, a match from a matchbox to pretty much, total the whole thing. It doesn't matter. It's just going to be what it's going to be. But hey, we got this war over here. We got somebody we need to support. We're going to throw, hundreds of millions of dollars in armaments and invest in tanks and anti, ground air, missile tracker machines directly up there. Better yet, we're also going to put in 1.2 to 1.7 trillion dollars into the lifespan of this plane that set up there and crashed, back in 2023 somewhere in Georgia, went off radar and just, flew into parts. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. Like I said, it's crazy. And this is why I told a lot of folks before that it doesn't matter specifically what side that you specifically bet on or vote directly for. They don't care about you at all. The United States government does not care about the American people because if they did, we would have a society. I'm talking about just tech wise. Tech wise, we would have a society that is on par or better than what people see in China. Our streets would be, what comparable to the streets that you see over in Greenland and Switzerland and different things like that, or even in Japan. Like they have roads out there that automatically not even absorb what is it? They're very the material, the way that they do the roads in Japan, they're quite porous, which basically means that they make it so that water does not just sit in the roads, so that you don't have to worry about puddles and different things of that sort. So as soon as it rains, the water is automatically going directly into the ground because of how it's built. When it deals with the United States, we have the manpower, we have the technology to do a lot of these things. We just refuse to do it. We just don't want to do it. Nor are the American people up in arms telling the United States government that, yo, y'all need to come out here and actually redo and fix a lot of these roads. Y'all need to, fix up a lot of these bridges that have been, rotting away for the last 30 to 40 years, and a variety of other things. But people are so worried about, all this other type of stuff that ain't nothing going to get done ever. Dragon said electrical cars aren't developed enough for practical use. A lack of eco-friendliness is a concern. Now, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying for Dragon. I do get what you're saying. Again, if we put in the time and the energy to specifically make the cities, like, I'll put it to you like this. So the main thing I warned people about when they dealt with the smart cities and a lot of these grids that they're going to build, if you were to apply the actions of smart cities for positive things dealing with the American people, it would be great. We would have everything that we would need. Like everything, it would be the closest thing to a utopia that you would actually see. But again, we're dealing with a government that cares about control and power. So within that, I think did I go over that on X? Let me see. Government trying to let me see. US Gov passes law yeah, so Section 24220 of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act requires that all new passenger vehicles sold in the United States after 2026 includes an advanced drunk driving prevention technology, often described as a kill switch designed to detect impairment and shut the vehicle down. This technology monitors driving performance and can prevent operation if the driver is over the legal alcohol limit. So let me just put this directly up there, right? Because the one thing that I love is when the government is like, yeah, we did this, specifically for your safety, right? So let me just pull these videos down so I got room to put this stuff directly up here, right? So just in case people are not aware, this is just a little bit more information that people can look at. Oh, I actually got to pull down the other images. Okay, no problem. It wasn't even the videos that was a problem. So I guess you get a certain amount of videos of images that you can put up there. All right, learn something new. So give me a quick second as I take those down. So now we should have space and the image should be there, right? So for face value, they're like, okay, this is the reason that, we're doing this, right? And as I told people before, when it deals with the United States government, they will always put something in the front to make it seem as though that they're doing it for you. But when you actually look historically, when has the United States government actually truly 100% ever been for the American people? I wait. Again, I like to go directly back to the Patriot Act. They told people like, hey, because everybody was fearful and chaotic and they were stoking the flames directly on that, the government was like, hey, calm down. We got you guys. We're going to do the job that you wanted us to do. We're going to have this Patriot Act and we're going to take care of you. We're going to make sure that you guys are safe. But in return, you have to show your trust by giving over, your freedoms. Right? As long as you give over your freedoms, you say it's okay. Again, we're not forcing you to do it, but as long as you agree with what it is that we're telling you, we can make sure that you are safe and sound and that these terrorists are not amongst us. And that's what they did. So now the government is doing it again. So any cars that are going to be made after 2026, remember, they're going to be electronic. Every car has some form of, electronic device in there where they can control it. I'll take it back to the fact of a story that I brought you guys about over 5 years ago, where there was a police chase that happened, and the police called OnStar. OnStar used to be on a lot of cars at a moment in time, and what OnStar was able to do was that they can have a kill switch, so they can automatically shut off a vehicle. So the person that the police were chasing, they called OnStar. They got in contact with him and they told him to make him out of the vehicle. OnStar saw the file directly up there. They hit that button and the chase was over. So now, and that was just with one company. Now the United States government is like, hey, with all of these cars and we're producing, we're putting chips directly in them. Now we have the power to basically shut off your cars. So now what does that mean? Said you, why are you bringing this up? That means that if they want to, they could decide to sit up there and, like, let's say just like some world event or something is basically happening and people want to be able to, let's say like a nice snowstorm happens in certain areas and maybe people have to use their cars in order to heat their cars. Oops, they could sit up there and say a hacker dialed in. They found some type of back way through the system, and a hacker from China or from Korea or Russia sat up there and found a back door, and they just put the off switch on certain cars, specifically in these regions that are facing severe cold where these people are using their cars. Or maybe if something is happening and people are trying to travel to and from and they don't want people to move, bow, kill switch. There's a lot of ways that the government can, and again, this is just all hypothetical, of course, but there's a variety of ways of which that the government can decide to use this. This is why you see a lot of rich people buying cars that don't have computer chips directly in them because they're not a part of that system. This is why they don't want a lot of old cars directly on the road. This is why they only want newer cars. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. This is why they made a lot of those bills dealing with the exhaust and all this other type of stuff, because they say it's for cleaning the air and all of this other type of stuff. It's about control. They want to get rid of the older cars that they can't control, that they can't kill switch. So if anything happens, they want to be able to control it. It's the exact same thing that I told y'all before. Go look it up, where during the time when Biden was in office, they specifically stated that they had a goal by, I think it was like 2026 or 2028. They wanted to install all throughout New York. They wanted to install electric stoves. SEIJI, electric stoves, what's the problem with that? Like that just means that people can't easily burn and less fires. Right on the surface, you would think it would be good. But look at all of the times that New York has gone through a lot of things, such as like power outages or things of that nature. What do people normally do if the power is out and it's cold outside? People will turn on their gas stove and they'll take a match or a piece of newspaper and they'll sit up there and light it. Therefore, they're able to boil water. They can sit up there and heat their homes, and they can sit up there and still cook. So even if you have a boil water advisory and the power is out, you still have water that you can drink. You just have to, boil it, wait a little bit of time and let it cool. If you have electric stoves, what does that now mean? That means that the state and the government have control of your power. This means that you are solely dependent on them. They control what it is that you're able to do, how it is that you are able to move, and, how you can possibly survive. Like I said, people got to realize no matter where you sit up there and go, all the things that they are doing, slowly but surely, they are eroding away directly at your freedoms, so that it makes it more difficult and more difficult and more difficult for each and every individual to survive. Because they know that everybody does not have the know-how directly out here in order to live directly off of the woods, to live off grid. So they know that 90+% of people, if not more, are going to be solely dependent. So what's the best way to make sure that people are dependent? By controlling every single source. We're going to control the water. We're going to control the electricity. We're going to control the weather. We're going to control how you're able to move. We're going to control the food. We're going to control the markets. We're going to control your finances by making everything digital, so that we know what you're buying and not buying. So if we specifically have a problem with you doing whatnot or whatever, we can sit up there and cut off whatever money you're able to get up until you basically suck up to us or apologize, or you basically start doing what it is that we want you to do. Like I said, all of this is control. People got to realize this is why, as stated before, go look at the old highway, I guess you can call it highway infrastructure. Look at how the roads originally were, how open they were, and how they went to and from. And then you compare that to a lot of the highways and the roads, how it is that they changed those so that even if you wanted to leave, you got to make so many roundabouts, so many circles just to end up back at square one. Again, all of that is about control. They want to make sure that they know where it is that you are going to go. Again, when you look at a lot of these smart cities or some of the things that they're adding directly into these towns where streetlights are starting to have they have cameras, they have other types of ways to view things directly into somebody's car. They also are moving it so that Wi-Fi is popping directly off of a lot of these things as well too. Like I said, it's a whole system, a 2.0, a mesh net. It's a lot of stuff going on. People just have to pay attention. Mo said the movie Leave the World Behind. Yeah, that was a good movie. That was a good movie. You also had the other movie I remember I talked about with you guys before some years ago. It's called Songbird. Ricky said if you really wanted to clean up the environment, you would put bikes and electric vehicles all around the cities for free, and that would eliminate a lot of the emissions on the road. Yeah, that's true. Like I said, we have the money and everything to do, you know, stuff with clean energy in order to progress a lot of those things. You got tech out here that can take waste from, you know, the landfills and turn that directly into gas and all this other type of stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff directly out here, but because it's not beneficial for those who like control, for those who want to be stuck directly in the system and have everybody else stuck directly in it, you know, they're not going to put it out there. They'll use it though. So when you look at the Ozarks and these underground cities, they're going to have a lot of these clean energy cars, like the same cars that people, you know, feel are not efficient enough. And all. They got they got perfected versions or near perfected versions of those in those cities, of which ordinary people, everybody here watching, we're not going to be allowed directly down there. Only certain people with certain credentials are allowed directly down there. Like I said, and I want to say Jesse Ventura might have touched on that as well too. There's even been some truckers online that have touched on that as well too, because again, you got different grades of truckers. You got certain truckers that got certain types of clearance, and then you got the normal truckers. And like I said before, look up the Ozarks or these underground cities that are all interconnected across the United States. They have a lot of the same stuff that you see on land underground, but it's way more efficient. And I promise you, they got stuff down there that has zero emissions, where the only emission that it probably gives off is water. What was one of the engines I think Chrysler was talking about? I think it should have been one of the big three. I want to say it should have been Chrysler, but it was an article that I read where one of the main companies were stating that if they could create an engine to run off of the element called thorium, that just with a piece of thorium in that engine, it could run for about 50 years without having to be replaced. So again, we have the technology to do these things. We just opt not to do them because of greed. So like I said, if nobody knows what I'm talking about, go look up thorium or a thorium engine and happen to, you know, read about that. Yo, Monzo, what is up? What is up? You said, what's good, bro? In chat, have you seen the movie In Time with Justin Timberlake? I think I do remember that, where they had the lifespan of a person directly on their arm. Sham said crude oil and its byproducts make more than just fuel, no matter what. Humans rely on it heavily. Tippy said it's working now. You talking about the stream? I got you, Tippy. Black said plus electric isn't a consistent and efficient as oil when it deals with moving machinery. Dragon said, I don't like how fast we're being pushed into these e-vehicles, especially since our cities don't have the infrastructure to make it suitable. one storm or power outage could be catastrophic. I mean, it'd be like that. Um, the main thing I'll sit up there and state is that there's a lot of things of the reasons why we don't have the infrastructure. One thing I would want to put directly up there, I'm not saying it's the top priority, but one thing that slows this down immensely is the fact of copper thieves. There was a video that I showcased where it dealt with Tesla charging stations or just charging stations in general. Copper thieves came directly by and they robbed the copper directly from those machines. And I'm not going to sit now. And the thing I will sit up there and say is we do have copper thieves, but we also have businesses or individuals that will sabotage their own businesses just so that they can get more money than what the actual thing is worth. That happens all the time. You got people who own businesses, they will hire somebody or they will burn the business down themselves because they have, fire insurance or different things of that nature. So that will actually make them richer than, fully just having the structure or whatever it is, just there. Like I said, but that was just one thing. But like I said, we have a lot of the tech. We have the ability to make things better. I remember, I'll tell y'all this story. There were 2 times I went to my job at Whole Foods and I gave certain ideas. One job that I had, because I'm the type of person I would love to, in a sense, do some humanitarian, type of work, things like that, right? And during the time when I was directly in that mind frame, I sat up there and I was looking at the whole thing of Whole Foods. I'm like, yo, we're getting rid of like a lot of water. Like, this is still good water. Like, why lost this stuff out? Loss basically means that it's going to be shrink. We're going to throw it out. Even if it's still good, it's going to be shrink. It's going to get thrown out, right? And we're going to recoup the money directly from it or whatnot, whatever. So I was talking to, one of my supervisors, over grocery, and I was like, yo, man, it was like, yo, couldn't I just we're about to lose this out. Couldn't I just take this and, use it and give it to like the homeless, give it to people who can use it, people who need it. And he just stopped there and he just looked at me like I was weird. And I'm like, why would that be a problem? He was like, yo, if I let you take this, what you gonna do with it? It's like, I'm gonna give it to people who specifically, need it. It was like, but why and all this. It was all these other types of questions in order to, make me feel like I was in a sense the problem, to make it seem like I was the one doing like the wrong thing when realistically it's the business itself that's throwing away, hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars and stuff that could actually be beneficial for those who are, in a sense, less fortunate. Right. So then I was all right, cool, whatever, man. I'm just going to forget it because it was making me like highly just like angry. So then the next time I came up with a idea and I was talking to the person over the store and then the ATL. And I came up with an idea that I thought would actually be great for not only like the building, but it would also be a great look for Whole Foods in general when it dealt with, things dealing with like energy and all this, other type of stuff. And and yada yada yada. And and it still came down to, roughly the same type of thing. Like it was dead. It was like no interest. It was like no type of like action or no type of like, yo, this is actually like a good idea. Like I can get you in contact with such it was none of that. And I was like, at that point in time, it let me know that you have a lot of folks out there that regardless of the positions that they have, they are fine with allowing the system to be how it is, knowing the fact that we could actually help and benefit other people. They're like, nah, you're doing too much. Like you just calm down and go back and do the job that we pay you to sit up there and do. Stop trying to do more. Stop trying to envision. Stop trying to bring up all this other type of stuff. Just be a worker. Like I said, these jobs out here, they're like, yo, this whole thing is jacked. It's completely jacked. That is wild. It is 100% wild. Let me tell you. Black said, I know one thing. If they do decide to do away with the cars that deal with oil, and I get an electric car and I'm driving in the middle of the night and it shuts down next to a graveyard, I'm soon. You talking about looking at the Tesla and how it was basically seeing images like in the graveyard and wasn't nobody. I know what you're talking about. You said I'm suing up for emotional trauma, distress, and discomfort. I know exactly what you're talking about. I saw those videos. Monta said that they have to be cool with these cartels and such skimming off the budget because it's how the American system maintains its uphold. Ricky said, yeah, because they prefer to keep it overstocked and their location and then take out somebody for coming in and stealing it. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man, the system out here is just jacked up. It's not built for you to want to actually benefit and help out other people out here. And that's the saddest part. And I was, man, the amount of anger that I had sitting up there, and that was a Dominican dude too. And I'm like, dog, I know where your people come from. And I'm like, for you to sit up there and really be questioning or trying to give me like the third degree on something, and this ain't even yours. And it's like, yo, and that's the craziest part about a lot of these situations. You got so many people that ain't really getting paid. You're just like, you might be getting paid like $3 to $5 more than the other workers. I'm like, dog, this ain't even like your water. This is not even your actual business. It'd been different if like you was a business owner, you was trying to give me the third degree. All right, cool, I get that. But it's not even yours, and that's the craziest part. Like, dog, your whole family is a whole immigrant. And you getting mad because I'm sitting up there and trying to give me the third degree because I want to, try to do something constructive directly with this? It's wild, dog. It is wild out here. Monster said it's the American way. That is bars. 100%. Tibby said, give it to the homeless. I couldn't. Because if I decided that that's something that I wanted to do, they could have basically just said that I was stealing. Even though it was shrink and it was given for losses, they would have just said that. Now they're fine with us sitting up there like drinking and stuff. That's cool, right? But if you want to sit up there and give it out, that's a whole situation. And then if you're seen giving that out and the police basically see you, again, people got to understand. I've done videos before where in different places around the United States, ordinary American people are giving out stuff or food directly to the homeless, and they're either getting arrested or they're getting ticketed for doing just that. Like I said, it's crazy out here. It's 100% crazy. And I wish more people actually made aware of this. I forgot what specifically happened during the time that those videos were actually out. I think there was a variety of other things that, in a sense, smothered those videos online, and I think some of those videos possibly got taken down as well too, by way of like the police or other folks directly out there as well too. But this is why people need to start paying attention to their local city and state officials, representatives, and the laws that just so happen to pass in the day and at night. Because in a lot of cases, again, as I stated before, where they want to take away the freedoms and the ability for people to move to and from and try to help another human being, they are working day and night to make that illegal, to arrest you and to prosecute you for wanting to help everybody else. They're completely fine. Like this is the thing, the best way to put it. America does not want another country to come help its people. America's fine with helping everybody else and taking that limelight. And America does not want the American citizens helping out their own people. Because again, even though it's Americans doing it in America, America in general is like, oh, well, we can't get the limelight. We can't take the credit for it. So we don't want nobody doing it. If we can't do it, if we can't get the awards, the accolades, and the credit for it, we don't want nobody else doing it. So to make sure that you're not going to be able to do it, we're going to outlaw it. We're going to ticket you. We're going to prosecute you. We're going to harass you. We're going to find ways to try to demonize it. We're going to find ways to stop anybody else from having the exact same thought process. We're going to make it as difficult as possible. We're going to put up so much red tape. We're going to force you or make you or coerce you to give up. And then they also put out the propaganda where people don't feel sorry for those out there who are homeless. And you start to see them as less than human being. So then the moment of time that you start looking at other people on the streets like that and you treat them like that and see them and deem them as that, it makes it easier for the government and the police to put them directly into the prisons. Instead of trying to help them get off of, whatever drugs, trying to rehabilitate these people so that they could be beneficial to society. They would rather lock them up in jails and prisons so that they can get, $5 or $7 or $12,000 per person for everybody that's directly in the bed. That also goes into the whole thing of homeschooling and why it is that a lot of these states and the government don't want you homeschooling kids because they want that money. and because if people happen to do a little bit of research, if you are homeschooling your kid and you got, all things in order, the money that the school will be getting, you'll be getting. So, Monta said is basically a tax write-off for those products to be given out through other means, even if you purchase it or it becomes throwaways, but you still can't suggest give it away. It's how they pay their bills, so to speak. Right. Yep. Lovely said, what state do you live in? That is a bit private. That is a bit private. But if you just want to in general just look at Whole Foods, talk to some of the people there. If well, I'm not sure how you would talk to some of those workers because some people they just only care about the job and they ain't really, on the whole thing of, trying to help out other people, especially in this time frame. That'd be tough. Yeah. The craziest part is you would have a better chance of trying to have this conversation with the young folks out here that work at a lot of these businesses to get information on how these businesses move internally. You would actually have a better chance of like talking to the younger generation versus other adults, which is funny. Tippy said if stores in America give out the food instead of throwing it away, homeless people wouldn't starve, but MAGA doesn't give a darn. Ricky said the masters know how to choose his overseers. Sham said, and also look up what happened when you don't grow your own food. Over there in Europe, they grew their own wheat and the prices grew high when they couldn't provide wheat. No country should import their food solely. Sham also stated it's a military blunder. This is how you know the government doesn't care about its citizens. That's facts. Excuse me. Ricky said, when you want to help everybody else, that's a true Christian. I don't really try to brand myself as anything. I'll try to do my best by going by certain things. That's what I will sit up there and say. Because I don't know. I don't know. Because I've gone through my things. I didn't went to like what Catholic, Christian, Baptist, schools and things of that nature. So it's like I don't know. And also going through churches. So, my whole main thing is that I just try to go through and treat people as they should be treated, and things of that nature. Because far too many times you'll have people out here, ultra gatekeepers that'll be like, no, you're not actually a true Christian because this, that, and third, and rah and all this. I'm like, I don't got time. People will sit up there and allow you or give you a branding, and then the moment in time they disagree, they'll take it away. So I'm like, hey, I gotta, I just stay directly to the side. I let everybody else have it. I let everybody else be a true, Christian, Catholic, Baptist, whatever it is. But I got you though, much love and appreciation. Monta said, I can tell you from experience that they do everything Sergi is saying that they do. I've worked at multiple food related facilities, whether it's a warehouse or a the restaurants are some of the worst too, because they got food there. And I'm like, yo, somebody the food was just not prepared properly, and I'm like, okay, so it just probably needed to be, let's say like the burger or something just needs to be put directly on the what's name, whatever. It's like, all right, so the meals that people are like, ah, no, I don't want this. You could easily just sit up there and give that to like the homeless or something like that. I'm talking about like people didn't sit up there and like, like touch it and like eat it and different stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of things that can be done in order to help out other folks out here, but you know, the government moves different. Sham said basic needs should have no cost anyway. That's why humans can't advance because they're stuck trying to provide primitive needs. Still, we could advance far quicker if we weren't stuck in fear. That's true. Monta said where people suggested giving away the throwaway, but there was apparent quote unquote red tape to doing so, even though it was already paid for by the company and whatnot. Yeah, which is the crazy part. Diabolical. Sham said, I was saying that America imports its wheat from over there, and the war caused the bread and flour prices to skyrocket. The inflation we have is stupid move by our government. Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Sham. I got you, and I agree. Um, and the craziest part is that we got to import all of that stuff from other places, even though we got the Great Plains and all this other type of stuff, and we can make our own bread. Even though the bread that we normally use, like white bread and stuff like that, is not really too good. Like I said, it'll get me on a whole different. this will get me on a whole different conversation dealing with food, and then I'll have to go back and start, looking at the previous stuff that I've done covering like the different, chemicals and stuff like that in food. Like I said, conversations can just they can go on forever, talking about this stuff. And again, this is real world. This is stuff that's away from, the normal conversations that we have. But as I normally tell you, the problem is that a lot of people don't want to focus in on it. Right? They would rather focus in on something that they feel they got control over, even if it's just emotional control. It's like, this is close by. I can actually do something with this. When it's something where it deals with the economy, people are like, no, that's too big. I can't really have an influence. I can't this, that, and the third. Yeah, maybe by yourself you can't really have an influence or push and pull directly on it. But if you got more people like you, then it's different. You not now your voice is louder. Right now, that problem, instead of it being like light years away, now you can touch it as if it's right there next to you in another seat. So, like I said, we got the ability to do a lot of stuff here. It's just, in a sense, a lot of people don't want to, and that's what makes it difficult. Sham said, I got a bread maker. Yeah, I seen those online. The bread makers are pretty dope. Sham said, we could have been funding farms, bakeries, and etc. You notice that all the stuff got shut down, including the farmers. It's all factory run, and white folks crying about they voted for the enemy. I mean, it'd be like that. It will be like that. Ricky says, sorry, sir, you were born into it just like sin. Some things you can't escape no matter how hard you try or the devil works. Monta said, I dislike white bread, only melanated bread over here. LOL, wheat, honey, wheat, or even potato bread. Sham said, I make homemade bread because I don't like the flip-flop in the store bread, and they make it spongy. Yeah, that's because of all the the preservatives and stuff that they make, so that it has a higher shelf life and whatnot. And then they bleach the bread, which then takes away the actual nutrients from the bread, versus when the bread is wheat and all this other type of stuff, you got all of the good stuff. Yeah. And then the bread is also heartier as well too, but it will go a little bit quicker in a sense, depending on how you keep it. Dragon said, if it doesn't benefit or turn a profit for the company, then they'll make sure nobody benefits from it. Sadly, so much food and other goods go to waste that can help millions of people. Yep. Dragon said, corporate greed is a poison. That's true. D Money said, I only buy Sara Lee bread. I haven't had Sara Lee in a while. Ricky said, write the Uber in the Grubhub can take a separate bag of throw always with them and pass them out to the homeless while they're making out deliveries. Oh, okay, okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Passing out food while doing Uber Eats. I got what you're saying. Sham said they put literal flip flop material in the bread and you can taste it. Homemade bread you get has a different taste. Yeah, yeah. And usually anything that's homemade, it tastes vastly different. 9 times out of 10, it normally tastes vastly different. But yeah, my bad. It is currently dark. This is why I normally try to do these live streams early to give you guys, the rest of your days. So again, I'm just going to give out the whole thing I said before for everybody out there listening and watching. Please, if you're on the East Coast, if you're a part of the quote unquote 200 million that they said may be affected by the snowstorm, please be safe. So let me just put that up there since this is the main part, right? So let me just put these directly up here. So just in case if anybody does come to the live stream and they make it this far, they know what it is that I'm referring to and talk about. So again, for the folks out there that are, listening, please stay safe. When it deals with the snowstorm and especially the cold, because it will be single digits and it may even dip lower depending on specifically where it is that you are. Make sure to sit up there and bundle up. Take every precaution possible because I didn't have to walk to work, in close to negative weather, and that is not fun. That is not a fun thing to sit up there and do. So take all precautions. Make sure you got your shovels or your snow blowers, basically ready. Hopefully a lot of folks out there, you still got time to go do some grocery shopping. Go do some grocery shopping and be prepared to potentially be snowed in, or for whatever basically comes, because you got some places talking about that, kids are going to be doing virtual learning, because they anticipate, quite a bit of snow or whatnot or whatever. In other instances, people have also anticipating, outages. So again, be prepared. Gas stove, matches, candles, flashlights, crank radio, an extra battery pack, things like that. So just be very cautious, and hopefully anybody that will be coming home during the time of point that it is snowing, please be safe. Take your time directly on those roads because it is not going to be a joke. What was it? Ricky said that basically we all have some form of intelligence and can come together and create a lot of ways to help recycle and reuse a lot of man-made materials that's being wasted daily. Yeah. Sham said no caps. And we see what you're saying just fine. Fernie said this live just made my shift go easier. Hey, much love, respect, and appreciation. I'm happy I was able to help out. That's also part of the reason that I do longer live streams. I would normally, depending on what's going on, I would do 6-8 hour live streams because that's pretty much a lot of people's work period, or at least get them out through the majority of that. So yeah, as long as it was able to help, that is my purpose. And maybe if there was some information there that you're able to that piqued your interest, it's all good. Excuse me. Tippy said America claims they're the best, but won't do simple tasks to better American lives. Only the rich, and they could easily get homeless off the streets and give them homes and nice apartments, not studios. True. Sham said that the government is not for the people, and our Constitution said that when it stopped being for the people, we are supposed to fight back. Ricky said, tell the truth and shame the devil is because of the color of our skin. So these ideas are useless. Yo, Rabbit, what is up? What is up? What is up? Rabbit said, anyone else notice less Karen videos with this cold weather? Yeah, that's true. Sham was like, Karen's hibernating in the winter. Yo, that is wild. Original, what is up? What is up? You said, I'm at work listening to. Hey, much love, respect, and appreciation. Rabbit said, don't be like Drake and recycle other people in their songs. That's crazy. That is wild. That is wild. But yeah, much love, respect, and appreciation to any and everybody that's been a part of the live stream. We've been going for about a good 3 hours and 13 minutes and 54 seconds. Shout out to all 60 viewers that are currently here at this moment in time. Shout out to anybody who has just subscribed directly to the channel, any new listeners, anybody who's been a part of the conversation in the comment section as well. Shout out to all of my moderators, who are here every single day doing the Lord's work. Shout out to anybody who threw any jewels directly in the comment section. Anybody who has also thrown up a super chat as well too. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Shout out to any of the members and to the patrons as well. And a special shout out to the true MVPs, aka the trolls, for doing what it is that they do every single day and making brand new accounts as they get blocked directly to the shadow realm. See, and I knew Tippy was going to sit up there and say that. Tippy was like, "Yo, game stream." The funny thing, Tippy, before I leave, I started playing one of the games that I was looking forward to. I would have to figure out how to stream this one because it uses it's very, even on low settings, it's pretty taxing on the rig that I have, or at least the one that I'm playing on at this moment in time. But it's called a Nemo. Let me go back directly to it. Yeah, it's called a Nemo. So that's ANIIMO. Basically, it's Xbox's version. So just like how we had the other game, I can't even think of the game. I want to say Pokemon so bad, but it's not. It's called Power World. So just like how Xbox had a game called Power World directly on there, Xbox has their official Pokemon type game that's going to come out pretty soon called Anemoy. It's pretty much is close to the same thing minus the guns. But you got a large open world type of thing where you got PvE, and then you also got some PvP that is within there as well too. And the different monsters have their evolutions and things of that nature. So you should look it up. I'm actually in the beta test, and I made sure to check on the Discord, and they said that you can record and stream and take pictures and stuff. So I will do that. I just gotta figure out specifically how to, and or maybe I might have to use a different computer. Sham said, "We in the Midwest, it's dark here because we get less daylight during the winter." And you said, "I know I've banned Vinny like 20 times now, and he keeps coming back." Yeah, some of them just got like multiple accounts. Sham said, "D Money, are you doing a stream tonight?" Mansa said, "Anemo, the beta." Yes. Yep. I'm in the second wave of the beta right now. I think my character is about level 20. Is he about like 20? I think I'm at like 17 or 20, and then I got some of my little monsters to about 15. So I'm still, basically going through and leveling up, trying to go around, because different areas around the map have different like level of monsters that are there. I can technically take on certain monsters that are like 10 levels above, but capturing them is the problem. But I can take them out though. Tippy said, "Be careful, y'all. Stay warm, eat well, and sleep well." Monster said, "Power World is dope." Yeah, Power World is. You know what the funniest thing is? I was on Power World when it first came out, and I haven't been back since. So it possibly has been about like a year or so that I've been on Power World, because I had a fight there and my base got destroyed. I didn't have the concrete and stuff when the flame little tribe or whatnot came directly there. I mean, my pals were sitting up there fighting. It was just the fact that everything caught fire, and I lost quite a bit of stuff. I'm like, oh no. All of that time I took to build. Oh no. I was doing well. I was doing pretty good. Ricky said, "In California, sunshine. God bless the rest of you." The same to you as well. Tippy said, "Don't go out at all if it is that cold." Yeah, that is a fact. If it is that cold, please, unless you really have to, don't go out. And for anybody where your job is like, "Yo, we need you to come into work," call off. Take a sick day, because you don't know what's going to happen. Your car could potentially stall. Icy roads could potentially be out there. You don't know what the what do they normally sit up there and call it? Not the wind shear, not the temperature. Um, you don't know what the driving view may be. It's a certain terminology, but you know what the view for a driver may be if it's very much snowing directly out there. If it's like blizzard conditions and stuff like that. Again, the main thing I want to just state to people as a person that's been fired before, jobs do not care about you. You could be working there and you could be a solid worker. But if they just want to get rid of you and don't like you, they'll be like, oh, well, you were late these 3 days, and that gives us grounds to basically get rid of you. Like I said, they can give you all the accolades, they can tell you all the nice stuff and all this other type of stuff. But if they really wouldn't get rid of you, they'll sit up there and do it. So what I'm saying is that you got to make sure to look out for you, because the moment in time, if anything happens to you, you laid up in a hospital and you can't work no more, I promise you that Friday, whatever happened to you on Monday, by that Friday or Thursday, they already got 9 people lined up to take your position. So again, at the end of the day, no matter how much scarcity these jobs try to, make it seem like, oh, you're not going to be able to find another job. If you're late again, we're going to have to all of those scare taxes, those fear taxes that they give you. Remember, none of those people at the job care about you. They don't. They care about themselves. They care about their money, their position, and their families. They are not worried about you at all. Sham looking at the game. He said, play the trailer. I potentially get like copyright for like music directly out here. They'll try to like hit me up real quick. I mean, I might have that already. Play some of these videos. Because of the music. Tippy said, gaming stream, Seji. Well, not with that game. It is highly taxing. I'll figure out something. Because like we again, we're gonna have like the snow day that's gonna be happening. Even though I would rather do that on the game channel though. Monta said, what's your gaming channel? Might check that out. It's the same thing. It is called, it should be listed as SEIJIHITO Gaming, I think it was. Yeah, it's just like SEIJIHITO Gaming. You'll see it. It's like it's like purple and like magenta type of emblem that's directly up there. And it has like the name directly in a circle. Only got about like 13 subscribers at this moment. So you'll see it up there once you type it in. Tippy said, that's all right. You're no longer my favorite gamer, Seji. D Money is. I mean, it'd be like that. It'd be like that. D Money is consistently streaming out here. This man got, hundreds of videos out there game. The man is consistently streaming games. I got to get my consistency in order. Like I told y'all before, I'm trying to be like D Money. When I grow up, I'm gonna be like D Money. Let me tell you. Sham said, I tried to go out, but I couldn't breathe when I opened the door. I got to order groceries. Asthma's not good and -30. Ooh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Thank you, Mo. Yeah, that's what it was. Visibility. Thank you. Ty said, what was the game called? It was called a Nimoy, ANIIMO. So when you look at it, you can type it directly into YouTube or type it in on Google, and it'll take you to like the website. The game is pretty fun. I like it. I like it for what it is. But let me tell you, if even on low settings, if your computer is not really up to par, yeah, you'll still have like some struggles. So yeah, I had to try it on a different computer to see basically how it works. I know on the other one it'll work better. I know that much. It'll work better on the other one. Because I think what's in that other one? I think it was like a 3080. So that, yeah, because I think when I signed up, yeah, it'll be able to handle at least even on like medium settings. I don't really, in a sense, play stuff on like ultra settings, so I'm pretty much fine on that. I'll be more so worried about the frames. Bo said, just walked to the store now and got me some red wine. Yep, it's gonna be time to relax. Tippy said, I hope D Money streams today. Sham said, Amino looks cute and fun. You got Ty in the building saying what's up to everybody. Sham said it's free to play and it's coming out. Yeah, it'll be out. I think it's supposed to be out sometime this year, but right now they just got the beta directly out there for it. So if people signed up for it last year, you're pretty much in the second beta. I thought it would have allowed me to give like a beta code out, but nope, that is just not the case. Not the case at all. Monty said, all right, cool. We got the same number of subscribers. LOL, I got 12 so far. This account I'm on using here is my direct gaming joint on YouTube. Okay, I got you. Wait, let me see. Let me go directly to channels so I can actually keep track. If I gotta make sure after this stream, I gotta make sure to what's the name of my browser? I gotta restart it. All right, so I got you. So I got that directly. So I got. Wait, let me. Okay, let me swap and do that because I'm trying to make sure I got everybody on one thing here. So let me go to my gaming channel and hit that subscribe right there. All right, so we got that. Matter of fact, let me make sure to do that too. Let me go back. Swap. Let me go over here. And let me go back to the stream real quick and let me make sure I got this one on D Money's channel as well too. Because I don't think I have the gaming channel subscribed to him. Let me just make sure I got that. See, I could just get all of y'all just all at one time and have all of that set. Because a lot of times I'll be, hooked directly up to my gaming YouTube channel and just watching stuff through there. Let me see. Where's the brother at here? I'm trying to find him real quick. Let me see. Hold on. Let me go to chat. No, I'm not looking for live chat. See top fans. Got Officer Haku directly up there. Wait, is D Money talking from the other channel? Yo, Nightfall, what is up? I'm going through like the list of stuff. I think D Money might be talking from. Oh no, okay, I found him. But it doesn't let me click from there, which is ridiculous. That doesn't make any type of sense. Let me try to go back up here. Okay, now I got the brother. There we go. Channel. All right, go to channel. Let me swap over. Go to switch account. Go to the gaming channel. And yep, okay. So there we go. All right, so I'm subscribed to both of y'all there. All right, so we are, which is great. Let me see. Free to play coming out. Frank said, I'm hunkered down in the house. Wife is baking beef stew. Hey, I haven't had beef stew in a minute. Generator primed and ready, about to go beat Borderlands. You know what? I was supposed to get Borderlands when it first came out. Forgot about it. Monza said, I would say that I'm surprised that Anemo is taxing, but it looks like Genshin Impact Loki. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, let me tell you, the computer that I'm on, it was doing a bit of struggling. It was doing some frame jumping. I'm like, yeah, we can't be doing that. Let me just turn this all the way on low settings, turn off the shadows and everything. It looks incredibly ashy, but I'm like, all right, I can play. It's like, all right, I can play. But like I said, when I install it on the other computer, it should work way better. It's probably gonna be running hot. I'm gonna have to sit up there and run, have the window open. Luckily, it'll be cold, so it'll be a cancellation that's happening. I can run it on some decent graphics, and you got a free heater directly, and that's the one thing I will say that I love about PCs. If you are running a game that is high in graphics, you got a free heater directly in your room. Let me tell you, can't sit up there and beat. It's like the classic days of the 360. That boy used to throw off heat like nothing you've ever seen. Let me tell you. Sham said, "My dog is panting, but I'm not turning off the fireplace. He better drink some water and eat some ice." Frank said, I'm in Houston, so I'm used to hurricanes, the cold weather, and the snow ain't too bad. I got you, got you, got you. Ty said, if only I liked beer. Said also, I have the notification set for D Money, but I never get it. Yo, I kid you not. That's the same thing I was telling them before. D Money was like, well. Man, up there pulling up like Negan. Easy peasy, lemon squeeze. Yo, crazy. Frank said I have some moonshine from the last family reunion. I use it to start the car. I bet that's jet fuel right there. NASA be tapping into that. Sham said, "Yeah, I have notifications on for both channels, and they don't sound off on YouTube, but they do on Discord." Yeah, and that's what I be telling people. Like, yo, YouTube be messing around with the notifications. Like, I kid you not. Ty said, "Sergey, I'm waiting for us to play Arc Raiders." I have to get Arc Raiders. There was a point in time I was supposed to get it, like I tell y'all, most games, and then life happens, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll get it at some point. So I'm like, yeah, I'll get it at some point. It will happen. It will happen. Now, will it happen before GTA 6? We'll find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. We'll find out on the next episode. Sham said making pork carnita tacos for tonight. I probably mispronounced that. I probably butchered that, but it'd be like that. Sham said, yes, see, that's why I want to switch to gaming on a system, because I'm not buying a whole new PC to game on these new generations. Yeah, that is a problem. Having to spend 2 to 3 for brand new cards just so that you can game. That's why I like game systems. Like, it's cheaper. It's more cost effective, and you can use that for about close to 10 years or whatnot or whatever before you got to get a new one. People keep saying, no, get a computer. But it's like, when you get a computer, you got to consistently, within a 10-year time span, it's like multiple graphics cards are coming out. So it's like almost close to every 6 months. Like, within a year, you just got this graphics card last year, and now your graphics card is pretty much old news. In another 6 months, it's now going to be older news, and then so on and so on and so on. So, Monza said, "Did you play the Marvel Tokon fighting game beta yet?" Nah, I didn't get a chance to play that. And I do have a PlayStation. Did not get a chance to play that yet. Sham said, "Nuts. I got a Honda gas generator. I like that brand. That mug never dies on me, no matter how cold it is." Yeah, Honda, they make some good stuff, including their trucks. Somebody did a video about Honda vehicles. They make some good stuff. Let me tell you, good stuff. Frank said, "New sub, good, cool content." Hey, much love, respect, and appreciation. I'm happy that you are enjoying the content, and potentially also getting you through the days and things of that nature. Like I said, we cover a lot of things here. We talk about quite a bit of things. Sometimes we might not stay on track on topics. We might divert, to other places, like how trees got branches. But yeah, we talk about a lot of stuff. Frank said, "I'm an old kind of gamer. Had GTA 1 when it first came out." Oh, no. We trust me, we right there with you. Like I said, you talking to somebody that played Super Nintendo. I played the fat Game Boy. I'm talking about the black and white with the green screen that needed 5 batteries. Played Game Boy Color, had PlayStation when it first came out, then PlayStation 2, skipped out on 3. Had the 360, the Xbox One, Xbox One X. I think we had another one in between there. I forgot what it was, but yeah. Trust me, trust me, right there with you. We are there with you. We are there with you. Back in those days of GTA, I played Driver. I had Driver 1 and 2. That was back in the days where they actually had the Italian Job, the game. Trust me. Sham said, yeah, if they let Moonshot advance like it should, we would have a whole super advanced fuel to run cars on, eco-friendly too, because you can make moonshine out of anything. That is true. Ricky said, "Do these gamers still come out at the arcade like they used to before they would go to home consoles?" It depends on the game, and depends on where you are. So it's very far few and in between. Pretty much everything is PC. It'll of course be made on PC, and then it'll get shipped directly to console or whatnot, whatever. If it's a fighting game, you're probably going to see it primarily first on PlayStation because PlayStation has the grab. They got their hands on anything fighting game related. So you'll probably see it there first, and then it'll move on to PC, the Switch, Xbox, stuff like that. I wish it was like the old days. I do miss arcades. Before you had consoles, where people were just like heavily online, arcades, that was the thing. You can meet girls at the arcade. You can meet brand new friends or rivals, at the arcade, good stuff. Frank said, I'm from the Nintendo era with the unlimited life cheat codes. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. You talking about back during the Game Shark, timeline. I know exactly what you're talking about. Trust me. Ty said, I'm not getting GTA and probably never will. I never had GTA, but GTA 6 I will get. Frank said, no memory card. When I had my first PlayStation, I had a week. I played Mega Man 8 Anniversary. That was my first Mega Man game. And I did not have a memory card. And I had to hold out for a week in order to get my first memory card. And I was on almost near the last part of defeating Dr. Wily. I never forget that. And I had to leave that game on so that I would not, I wouldn't have to start all the way over. Like I was playing that game without a memory card. That's dangerous. A power outage could have happened. Somebody could have just came through. The lights could have went on. Anything could have happened. Like I said, gamers of today, they don't know nothing about that. Tippy said GTA 6. Frank said no save. Sham said LOL. I'll never forget those no save days. Don't let the siblings turn on your system off. We fighting like strangers in the streets. Yep. Ty said I played most of the GTA games, and after a while, it ended up being like sports games. Different year, yeah. Tippy said I never passed the fighting school missions in San Andreas. Tippy said go ahead and laugh. Frank said that's very true. I'm a gearhead, built many other vehicles. I can start my big block 454 Chevy motor using moonshine. Ricky said video games all start to seem to be the same, like you were actually living outside in a different reality. Yeah, when you have a VR and augmented reality start to like combine and things like that, yeah, it's going to be a whole new world. That's going to be the next step. That is going to be the next step in video games, because they got certain games out here right now where it's built in Unreal 5. And it looks real. It looks as real as can be. And that's just looking at it on your computer. Now, if you got a VR headset on and you're playing that, it's over. It's over. Like I said, that's going to be the next step. They already, tried to test people with the augmented reality with Pokemon Go. That was one of the greatest tests, and people were out there moving. People were going to and from. That I would say that was one of the greatest gaming experiments that I've ever seen in my life. And for the most part, it, in a sense, at that one instance, turned everybody into a gamer overnight. It was incredible. That's the most people on the planet that I've ever seen automatically know about Pokemon and become like Pokemon trainers. And this is coming from somebody who was watching Pokemon back in '96. And my first Pokemon game on my Game Boy Color was Pokemon Yellow. That was the hardest one to start. If you have Pokemon Yellow, you understand the struggle that you had to go through in order to beat that first gym. That it was tough. I think, what was it? Was it Lavender Town? I forgot what it was. But when you had to sit up there and fight all those ground type of Pokemon, or you had to fight a Metapod, or let me see, what was it? Metapod. Yeah, Metapod was green, and then Kakuna was yellow, basically the moth. Yeah, when you had to fight both of those, and all they could do was harden, and then you had, I think, what was it, like shock or like tail whip, and it wasn't really doing that much damage. Yeah, the struggle was real. You didn't have no vine whip. You didn't have some magical, I gotta say, like Digimon pepper breath. You didn't have that. you didn't have Squirtle squirt. You didn't have none of that happening. It was tough. It was real tough. Tippy said, I don't know about VR gaming with those horror games. Yeah, you the main one talking about play some horror games. Yeah, when that VR comes out, you ain't playing those no more. Sham said they already got chips that read movement in the brain. Brainwaves won't be long before they can make it where you can download and play from your consciousness. Yep. Sword Art Online. Ricky said, "Oh yeah, these fools were going over to the projects out here in LA." Monty says, "Subscribe to the gaming channel, fam." Hey, much love, respect, and appreciation. Thank you, thank you. Frank said the storyline sucks for the new games. I'm trying to get into. Call me old, but I'm tired of remastering. I welcome Horizon 3 right about now. Yeah, I mean, remaster is pretty much where it's at. The funniest thing is the only remasters I care about is Code Veronica X, and I want Dino Crisis 2. I don't care about, and also maybe like a Lost Planet. Other than that, I don't really, in a sense, care for other remasters. But yeah, if they can give me um Dino Crisis 2, I will pay for the special edition. I kid you not. I am putting money directly on that. I remember when I first got Dino Crisis, and I fell in love with that game. I'm having flashbacks going through certain stages, certain areas or whatnot. You know. What was it? Frank said my VR headset is collecting dust. Any suggestions? I have not a clue. I mean, the only game that I wanted to play on VR was Beat Saber. Like, if I ever got a VR headset, that would be the game that I would be playing, because I just like Beat Saber from watching other people like it. I mean, play it. Tippy said, "I'm talking about you playing scary games, Seji. I want to see your reaction." Of course you do, Tippy. Chef said, "If they do horror games in VR, I'm falling like a white girl all over the place." I'm way too scared. I can only imagine Sham and Tippy in the same room playing a horror game on a VR headset. That would be hilarious. That right there, that would be a YouTube channel. The amount of reactions that you would be able to pull just from that content alone would be hilarious. It would be memes all over the place. Let me tell you. Sham said, especially Silent Hill, the game is way too scary. Tippy said, "Give your VR headset to me. I'll take it off your hands." Of course you will. Monster said they talk about Code Veronica remake in 2027, along with Resident Evil 0 remake in 2028. Yeah, they'll probably do it. They will probably do that. They will probably do it, but not sure when though. You gotta have your fingers crossed. Can't really trust these game companies out here, because they'll push stuff like far into like, "Oh, y'all want Code Veronica X? No problem. 2045. They'll be like, "We'll bring that out when PS9 comes out." And if people know, if you grew up during the time of the PS9, the newer generation don't know about that. But the PS9 commercial, they set up there and showed a crystal ball that pretty much was able to, you touched it and you were automatically like in the game. You were basically playing it. So that was like the virtual and the augmented reality type of thing, just all in one. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. Once it gets there, tech is dangerous. Ty said, "I would just be there laughing at both of them." Yeah. Yep. Let me see. Playlist. What is up? What is up? We said Code Veronica Resident Evil. Yes. Yep. Ty said, "I have yet to find a game scary. I'll be playing Outlast and Silent Hill in the dark with headphones." Man, you brave. Let me tell you. Ricky said, "I guess I'm a cheapskate. I like one of the distractions were only a quarter, maybe went up to $1 now, and they charge you hundreds of dollars to be distracted. No thanks." I mean, you can always get stuff on discount. Monza said it'll be on PS7 exclusive for me. I expect when the PS9 come out, I expect D Money to be the first one in line to have the PS9, because that man is a Sony only gamer. Monty said, "I remember that little orb supposedly to be released in 2070 or something." Yep. Frank said, "I sell it, but it's already in my console collection. Maybe later for a few." Playlist said Resident Evil Outbreak was where it was at. Drop you in the shoes of everyday people. The first mission in particular is amazing because it's that 12 to 24 hours in every zombie movie. Monster said Dead Space. Oh yeah, Dead Space. Whoo, original Dead Space. Yo, that was catching when that first came out on 360, that was catching everybody. Everybody, that's all people would talk about. It's like, yo, you play the Dead Space demo, you play that, yeah. It's like, yo, you go through this, going in there. Yo, that was something right there. Frank said PS9 gonna be like Cyberpunk. Yeah. Eric said, shaking my head. He said, freeze work those jobs. Oh, Eric must be on like the upper part of the stream. Sham said, no way, Silent Hill. I could not get through without crying. I was so scared. Outlast 2. I can't do it. I'd be struggling with 7 Days to Die. I certainly am not playing it. Oh man, hilarious. You and Tippy, I'm telling you that just both of y'all being on a channel playing the same games, that would be hilarious. Oh my goodness. That would be straight comedy. Tippy said, for extra views, I'll probably dress like a black version of Laura Croft with her tight tank top. Tippy trying to get those donations. Oh my goodness. Tippy trying to sit up there and pull the whole thing with Twitch, where the girls be having like the full on like tank top. That would get a lot of views. That's why I can't take y'all nowhere. You can't take people nowhere. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. That is, as soon as Tippy said that, I knew exactly what she was talking about. I didn't see too many women on Twitch, let me tell you. Oh man, that's crazy. Monster said, Silent Hill F got that fire. That's bars. Let me see. Ty said 7 days. Oh yeah, everybody got that. Ty was also said the new Silent Hill. Money in it. Dang. It's crazy. I mean, I guess like some people feel different about it. Shane was like, LOL Tippy. Monster said that'll definitely get you views at Tippy. Yeah, it will. I done seen too many dudes like dropping like 50s and 20s directly. I'm like, man, like this is how they make your money. I'm like, yo, I'm just struggling on my gaming channel. I'm like, yo, it's rough out here. I'm like, man, that is wild. That is wild. Frank said B1 FBA. Ados. Gotcha. Much love, respect, and appreciation, good sir. Ty said Tippy gonna be dressed like PS1 Laura Croft. Gotta keep it within the terms of service. Yeah. Oh my goodness, hilarious. Tippy said, LOL, I'm still fully covered. Just showing a little cleavage. It's not like it's only Oh man. Oh my goodness. Oh man, I swear to God. Can't take people nowhere. But yeah, that's how a lot of women make money directly on. I kid you not, right now. I swear to you, you could probably go on Twitch right now. And you could probably find a quote unquote female gamer sitting up there wearing barely anything, and you just got like, a nice like 500 people just in the stream, just sitting up there like talking, just waiting for her to sit up there and move in a direction and just like start throwing money. It's like, oh my God, I saw a thigh. Oh, was that an ankle? Bow, $100. I'm like, what? Oh, that's wild. Frank said, I remember when I beat Tomb Raider 1, the new Lara Croft ain't it. Ty said, Tippy going to be poking eyes out. Monza said, you ever play Sekiro? Don't I got Sekiro? I think I may have that on PlayStation somewhere, possibly. I think I might, but I'm not sure. I would have to sit up there and check. But it's dope. Sekiro is dope. That is a pretty dope game though. Shem said, I still have a black father. I don't want to be scratched up to be. Shem said, I'm grown, but I'm not that grown. That's crazy. That is wild. Frank said, I'm trying to play a game and get some tips. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. That is wild. Like I said, only on lives here. Only on these lives. Let me tell you. Tippy, if you're laughing, Frank said, I'm married to. My wife walks in and understands. Hey man, Frank gonna get caught up, man, gonna get in trouble. She gonna be like, yo, what you watching? Turn it off. Whole system about to be destroyed. Monitor gonna be broken and shattered. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you. Frank said it ain't that kind of party, Mike. Timmy said being top heavy and running in VR machine. Wow, we'll have the top female streaks. Oh my goodness. Hilarious. Tippy is making jokes right now, but she is dead serious. I just want people to understand she is dead serious. It all seems like jokes, but Tippy is dead serious. She always be sitting up there saying this stuff, but I know she's serious. All it takes is for her to sit up there and get a chance. Somebody's like, "Hey, Tippy, here's this VR headset. Here's this powerful computer. Bam, go stream." But then Tippy gonna make excuses. No, I don't want to sit up there and show my face. I don't got the camera. Oh my goodness. Frank said she broke a PS5 before, and now we good a few years later. Dang, that's rough. That's tough right there. Man. Woo-wee. Ooh boy, yes. You might want to stay away from Twitch. Let me just do whatever you do, just don't go on Twitch and and try to watch no games. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Timmy said, y'all know VR running treadmill thingy? This woman. Yep. They got the omnidirectional. Funniest thing is the tech where it dealt with Disney, it was a black man that made that. That omni, directional, type of thing. And that was I would have never thought about that. And I'm like, I would actually love to have something like that to actually play games. The one thing I like about the VR and people being able to like stand in the harness and play it, it allows people to exercise while playing the game at the same time. So it's like, that's pretty dope in my mind. Sham said, Lamo, I'm not trying to hurt myself. Oh my goodness, hilarious. Let me tell you. But yeah, we've been going for almost, I think, what was it? I almost want to say we've been talking for about a good 2 hours. Wait, how long have we been talking about video games? I'm not sure. Actually, at this moment. Not sure. I feel like it's been like an hour plus in a sense. But yeah, much love, y'all. I'm gonna let y'all have directly at it. It's 7:35, almost like 8 o'clock. What was it? Frank said Black America saved Disney, Marvel, and real gaming, and etc. That is bars. That is bars. But yeah, much love to everybody. Y'all have like a good night and be safe directly out there. Get everything in order that you need to get in order so you can hunker down and all of this cold weather and everything that's about to hit and whatnot or whatever. And I have a video uploaded for you guys a little bit later. Let me see. When am I going to put that up? Yeah, I have it set for like 8 o'clock, I guess. Maybe 8 o'clock, maybe 12 or something like that. But yeah, I have, some stuff set directly for y'all. And depending on what happens, we may have another live stream. just, just depending. People said I might wear a sports bra because running with bowling balls is not for the weak. Trust me. Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Ty said, DM me if I'm needed. Okay, I got you. Sham said, you trying to get me to knock myself out on live stream TV. Oh my goodness. Yo, hilarious. Y'all are hilarious. Let me tell you something. Y'all are hilarious. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream and or video. Peace out.